NFL. We're on the road in Miami to visit the undefeated Dolphins. Joining us will be rookie linebacker Zach Thomas, quarterback Dan Marino, and head coach Jimmy Johnson. Through the eyes of three Dolphins, we explore the mystique of playing for Jimmy. And the Where Are They Now looks back at former Dolphins kicker Garo Yepremian. And now, from Miami, Florida, home of the 3-0 Miami Dolphins, the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL, with your hosts, Len Dawson, Nick Bonaconti, Chris Collinsworth, and Jerry Glanville.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Southern Florida. Boy, does HBO have some great programming for you this weekend, all originating from Miami. On Friday, Vernell Whitaker defends his welterweight championship. On Saturday, Gloria Estefan in concert, but we're kicking it off with HBO's Inside the NFL. And gentlemen, the three of us, our first road trip last year was here in Miami. We had a guy named Jimmy Johnson with us to help us analyze things, and I can still visualize that. By the ocean, there he was in that fine Hawaiian shirt, the breeze blowing and not one hair on his head moving. But now look at him, the new coach of the Dolphins.
Yeah, but Len, you got to remember, we were like therapists for Jimmy Johnson. I mean, we got into his head. I mean, we're the ones that he learned from. We educated him. And where does it got him? He's 3-0, and he's tied for the AFC East.
Yeah, and other coaches saw that, and they were willing to pay full tuition to come and get schooled by us here. But the guy who paid top dollar...
Yeah. Who is that guy over there?
Jerry Glanville, yes indeed.
I may have paid top dollar to try to learn from you three guys, but one thing I've really learned is you're not going to make me wear one of these Jimmy Johnson Hawaiian shirts. You can take that back. I'm not going to wear that thing.
All right. Hey, speaking of Jimmy Johnson, last year when we came down here, the Dolphins were 4-0, and they went right downhill. Do you think that's going to happen again, Nick?
No, Lenny, simply because it's attitude. Jimmy Johnson, attitude, latitude, Jimmy Buffett. He's changed. Hey, listen, the running game is going. He's playing rookies. He's not afraid that they'll make mistakes. And the big thing is the offensive line. They're getting dirty. They're fighting in the trenches, and that's here to stay.
One thing, if you're a head coach in the National Football League and you got a great quarterback, the first thing you find out is pretty easy to throw that ball. I think Don Shula was like I was when I had Warren Moon. You throw the ball when you really ought to be running it. It becomes too easy. That won't happen to Jimmy Johnson. He'll run the football even if they're not gaining yardage, and that'll help the defense.
All right, and that defense needs a lot of help. Believe me, on that defensive line, they've got Daniel Stubbs as their main guy. He's bounced all over the National Football League. Troy Vincent no longer in that secondary. If things blow up for Miami, it'll be on the defensive side of the ball.
Well, one thing that defense is doing, they're able to stop the run so far, but let's take a look at their opponents, right?
Thank you.
They're 3-0, but their opponent's combined record 1-8. Well, later in the show, we'll be talking to Jimmy Johnson, Dan Marino, and Zach Thomas. But first, let's see how the Dolphins team improved to 3-0.
The Don's legendary cast iron jaw now juts permanently outside the Dolphins' home. But inside last Sunday, Miami would display a glass jaw as the Jets knocked them around repeatedly.
Marino back to pass, looking, throws for the end zone, and it's intercepted by Glenn, and he's taken out. 30-yard line, 40-yard line, he's going to go all the way. Aaron Glenn, high-stepping touchdown. Aaron Glenn returns it 99 yards for the score.
The surprising Jets' success resulted in a 14-point lead.
I wouldn't
start celebrating too early with Dan Marino as their quarterback.
The birthday boy, Dan Marino, would celebrate with a gift-wrapped touchdown to his rookie fullback, Stanley Pritchett.
Downfield, has Pritchett open at the 50. He's to the 40. He's going at the 30. He's gone! Yes!
And Danny gets his fullback isolated one-on-one with Chad Cascadden. And guess what? Yugos can't run with Corvettes, baby.
Jimmy Johnson's other rookie running back also has plenty of horsepower under his hood, and he fueled the Dolphin Demolition Derby. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's 124 yards and 2 scores, coupled with Marino's 3 touchdown passes, overpowered New York, and the Miami engine roared to 3-0.
Greatest quarterback in Dolphin history, and a man who has set all the records in the National Football League, Danny Marino. Danny, no one's ever going to talk about Don Shula in negative terms, especially Nick Buoniconti. He's such a great coach. We had 2 Super Bowl wins under him. But how does Jimmy Johnson differ from Don Shula?
It's hard really to put it in words. In a lot of ways, they're very similar. You know, I'm not going to say anything negative about Coach Shula either, because we did so many great things together, and you just look at it for what it is. You know, you move on, and Coach Johnson's here now, and he's just around a little more. You know, he's very passionate for what he's doing. I think that he made a commitment to some young guys, something that maybe Coach Shula didn't want to do last year, and it's kind of paid off so far early on for us.
The running game, I mean, which really has been difficult for the Dolphins over the past. You would have loved to have had a running game, only it didn't go. But now with Jabbar and Spikes, you have the same offensive coordinator. But are these rookies the difference this year?
Well, they're good backs. They're solid backs. Spikes is a good back too, and he's been here. He just haven't really had a lot of opportunities. And Jabbar is just a guy that has good vision, good balance. Made the commitment. The defense has helped us a little bit so we can run the ball a little more and commit to it, where in some years past, defensively, we get behind or whatever. We didn't rely on the running game as much to come back and we just throw it. Now we're a little more patient with our running game.
Well, what if the running game gets shut down? I look at your receivers. Outside of O.J. McDuffie, they're to me, a bunch of no-name receivers. Can they carry the day if the running game does get shut down?
Well, I think that really will remain to be seen, but we didn't really run that well against Arizona early, and even against the Jets early, but we stayed with it, and things came around. We threw it a little bit early to open that up, and we're capable of doing that. And as far as, can we throw it 50 or 60 times and be successful? I mean, I don't know, but we do have some people that can make some plays.
The last 3 games against Indianapolis have not been on the positive side for the Dolphins. And as I look at their defense, they have a good secondary, especially their cornerback, Ray Buchanan. Now, as you go into the game, is Eugene Daniel, the other cornerback, your target?
Well, I don't necessarily go, into a game thinking that I have one guy I have to try to beat or stay away from. But in some cases, you will do that. But for us, I just try to go back, read the defense, throw to the proper guy, rely on our people getting open, rely on me making the good read. And you're right, their secondary is good. And I've played a lot against Buchanan and Eugene Daniels. We've been around a long time. And they're good players, and they're going to make plays.
Danny, you just turned 35. Now you're a gray beard in the league. I know it's hard to believe that, but you, Kelly, and Elway.
Right.
And you hold so many records. You've broken so many records in the National Football League, but that one elusive record that you like to have, of course, is a Super Bowl win. How important is that to you?
Well, it's important to me. It's important to everybody. I think, when you start out a season, you want to have that dream of being in the Super Bowl and winning a championship, and it is extremely important. It's something that I want to achieve. But I think if it doesn't happen, I could look back on my career and know that I worked hard and that I've done a lot of great things. And you have to be in a special situation with a special group of guys and be lucky in some ways to stay healthy. And if that happens and I'm on that team, then great.
Danny, you deserve one. Good luck the rest of the year.
Nick. Okay.
Back to you, Lenny.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Dan needs to lighten up a little bit.
Well, no, I always get a little depressed around Nick, too.
He'll depress you. He'll depress
Well, the next test for Dan in the Dolphins will be the Colts. Another big game in the AFC. It's in the West.
Tremendous impact on this Miami Dolphin defense. Zach, what do you have in your hand there? Number 85? That's my old number.
That's right. I thought if I changed my number to your old number, then I'd last 15 great years like you did, Nick.
Well, they told me I played pretty good football here with the Dolphins, but it must not have been that good because they didn't retire that number.
Well, they should have.
Well, you know, you were the 153rd pick in the draft, and I wouldn't feel so bad because in 1962, I didn't even get drafted by the NFL. But was it a lack of size that kept you from getting drafted higher?
Oh, yeah, I know it was because it's taking a big chance on me. And I know you can have a guy that's 6'2", 250, and you know he's not a good player, and he comes in and they have an excuse to put on him. But when you're 5'11", 230, I mean, they don't have no excuse. They get in a lot of trouble. They could lose their job on stuff like that. But, you know, it's motivating to, you know, prove people wrong, and, you know, I still got a long ways to go.
Well, you know, the Dolphins always had an Achilles heel. It was stopping the run. Now that you're in the middle and you got Bowens and Gardner and Entman, how does it feel now that you guys are so good at stopping that run?
Oh, it's great. You know, it's only been 3 games and we got 13 games to go, but I tell you what, it's great because in the, you know, past couple of years we've had some problems, and I think that, you know, our D-line is just doing a great job, especially because they're freeing us up, and that's the way our system is to free us linebackers up, and they're keeping them off of us, and that's, I mean, that's one thing. They do all the dirty work and we just clean up.
Are you really tired of being compared to other middle linebackers here with the Dolphins, Brian Cox, John Arpadal, and some guy who played in the 70s name, whatever his name was? Are you get sick of that?
Well, you know, I mean, it puts a lot of pressure on you, but I don't get sick of it. You know, that's great to be compared to them. I mean, to great players like you and Brian Cox. And, you know, I tell you what, I think that, you know, I don't even think of it that way, though. You know, I try to say I just play in one game at a time, because if I try to be like anybody else, I'm just trying to be myself and go out there. You know, it's only been 33 games. I still got a lot to prove, man. It's a long season. You know how that is.
Yeah. Is Jimmy Johnson everything you expected of him as a head coach?
Oh, yeah, he's everything. He's more, I think. And I think that, you know, coming in right when I first heard his first speech, I knew why he was such a great coach. I mean, he can get you so pumped, and, you know, he's so motivating. And, you know, when you're out here, he demands things. And that's one thing that, you know, he's kind of an intimidating guy, and he gets the best out of you all the time.
Well, listen, good luck in trying to get the number to wear 85 linebacker. I don't think it'll happen.
I know. I think that, you know, Lamar Thomas has got it right now, receiver. So what's up with that?
All right, Lenny, back to you.
We heard from Zach Thomas, and he said it's great playing for Jimmy Johnson. In this week's cover story, Andrea Joyce talked to 3 other players about their experience with Jimmy.
Jimmy Johnson has been a winner everywhere he's worked. He was the first head coach to win both a college national title and a Super Bowl.
One of the keys to Jimmy Johnson's success is his ability to get the most out of each and every one of his players. His motivational tactics are as diverse as the athletes themselves. In Miami's season of great expectations, consider this the tale of 3 players.
Louis Oliver shined for 5 seasons as a Dolphins safety. Then he signed a big 2-year free agent contract with the Bengals that went bust after 1 season.
I came back here, and last season things were a little slow. I was a little disappointed, but so far this season I'm pretty happy.
Oliver has changed from a disappointed part-time player under Don Shula to a happy starter with 3 interceptions for Jimmy Johnson.
He brought the type of defense that we've been wanting around here for years. You know, instead of that passive, sit back, bend but not break type of defense, we got an attack and aggressive style of defense, and that's what I like. That's what I like, and I think that's a result of his personality. He's that type of person. He's that type of coach.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar found himself in the doghouse during training camp because the coach doubted the seriousness of the rookie's injuries.
You do feel like if you don't perform, you're not gonna play, nor will you be here. So, but that's not really fear. That's just letting you know. And there's no secrecy. There's no politics. It's just whoever's gonna play is gonna play. You know.
And now Kareem's starting for Johnson's run-first offense. The 9th running back drafted leads the league with 5 rushing touchdowns.
The big difference between here and college is that you have to perform. You know, and there's no. It's like they don't accept not, you know, being where you're supposed to be, you know, not catching the ball or not doing what you're supposed to do, you know. Some mistakes are you don't, it's just some things are not tolerated.
Terrell Buckley was traded by Green Bay to Miami a year ago after failing to live up to the expectations of being the 5th player drafted in '92.
I've always believed in my ability and my skills. And I think once he saw them through many camps in the offseason and all that, he realized that it was a lot of potential. I just had to be put in the right situation. And also having a guy that believes in you as an athlete make you feel that much better.
And perform better. Tied for the league with 4 interceptions, this cornerback isn't afraid to take a risk and occasionally fail.
In the past, after something like that happened, you know, I'll be running off the sideline and here comes somebody, if the defensive coordinator or the head coach, you know, saying, what are you doing? What are you doing? After they've told you to make plays, but in the back of their mind, they're still saying, don't give up any. But I think Coach Johnson is different where he's telling you to make plays, make plays.
Jimmy Johnson may treat each player differently, but his purpose is always the same, to build a winner.
Even in practice, you got to make every play because you don't want to mess up. And he says, hey, you know, you messed up. And if he comes up to you and say, hey, you messed up again, by the 3rd time you could be gone.
You know, when you think about, you know, somebody besides your parents who was the most influential person in your life, you'll think back and I guarantee it'll be somebody who was hard on you, know, and he's tough on us and he's been influential.
I don't think the first couple of years I didn't tap the water of what was really under this engine, and Coach Johnson is allowing it to come out.
3 players, 3 different stories, yet so far all have successfully pushed themselves to answer Jimmy Johnson's challenge.
And now we're with the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, a man who's won 2 Super Bowls, and boy, does he have an eye on the 3rd one, Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy, to try to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, sort of like the old Inside the NFL set you were on last year, we have sort of a fishbowl behind you here.
Well, Nick, you know I couldn't do a show without the fish, but that's enough, guys. Now, you've got to tell Jerry Glanville he looks a lot better in a Hawaiian shirt than he does in black, but Elvis would never wear a Hawaiian shirt.
Well, I'm glad the way you get away from Jerry Glanville here. I'm going to talk a little bit about Wayne Huizenga. Boy, the way you set him up, and he played right into your hands to become head coach here, didn't you?
I tell you, Wayne has been absolutely fantastic. He's got to be the best owner in all of professional sports to work for. Yeah, the thing about it, we've had some instances where I had to make some decisions as far as players and the salary cap, et cetera. And like I was talking to Wayne about the Eric Green situation, I said, hey, I hate it because, you know, we gave him such a big bonus before I got here, and he's really a lot of money down the drain. He said, Jimmy, he said, you make football decisions. Don't worry about the financial end of it. You know, make football decisions. You're a take-charge guy. Do whatever it takes to let this team win games. And so that's the attitude. You know, he wants to be the best.
Well, you know what a championship team looks like. Heck, you have 2 Super Bowls. As you look at these Dolphins, how do they stand compared to the championship teams that you had?
Well, obviously, we're a lot younger. We got a lot of rookies in the lineup. We got a lot of new faces. We got 23 new players on this football team. So when you really look at it, half the roster has changed from a year ago. We're going to have some bumps in the road because when you play a lot of young players, they're going to make some mistakes. But they're playing with some enthusiasm. They're hungry. They're having fun. And you can see that on the field. I think that's one reason we're 3-0.
Well, you're committed to the running game, no question about it. But you have the same offensive line, the same offensive coordinator. What is the difference? Why are you running so well?
Well, I think it's an attitude. We went through training camp. We had as physical a training camp as there was in the NFL. We worked very hard. Our guys are in tremendous condition. Plus, we got a couple of rookies back there. Stanley Pritchett's doing a great job at fullback. He's actually caught more yardage as a receiver than any of our receivers. And plus, he's blocking for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's done a great job. He's leading the league with touchdowns with 5. And then you got Irving Spikes as a change of pace in there. So we're running the football, and on top of that, we still got Dan Marino back there to throw it and pick up the 3rd downs and score some touchdowns.
Yeah, but I want to talk about that offensive line. What did you tell them? They look like they're finally fighting in the trenches.
Well, we've got a little drill we call the middle drill, and it is all out, full-scale, short yardage situation. You've got to run between the tackles, offense versus defense, first team against first team. And we went through middle drill the entire training camp, and it was difficult and it was hard, but our guys, I think, had an attitude instilled in them right there that, hey, when it comes down to crunch time, when we've got to eat up the clock at the end of the game and we've got to run the football when everybody in the world knows that we're going to run the ball, we can do it. We can still accomplish that. And we're getting all of our yardage in the second half running the football. A lot of games we started off we've been a little bit shaky running the ball, but we're persistent and we're running the football in the second half.
Well, you got the Colts Monday night. Now, are you telling your team that this is an important game because if they can beat the Colts, they'll have the respect of the entire league?
Yeah, Nick, this is the kind of game that I missed when I was away from football. You know, the big game. You know, the game where you're going on the road, you're the underdog. It's a challenge for you. Most people are not expecting you to win. Yeah, I like that. I like the excitement of getting ready for that type of game. The Colts, without question, you know, they're an outstanding football team. You know, what they were able to do going to Dallas and beating Dallas without, you know, 7 players and some of their star players, that's an accomplishment. They're good in the kicking game. They're outstanding on offense with Harbaugh, and they play great defense.
Well, Jimmy, good luck Monday night and the rest of the season.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Back to you, Lenny.
All right, Nick, thank you very much. Jimmy was talkative, wasn't he? You know, a lot of folks thought, Jerry, that he would not go back into coaching because he had such a great deal in broadcasting. You know that situation. Why did he go back?
Well, when you've been coaching all your life and then you're not, Lenny, you got a hole in your heart and you miss the competition. You miss getting up every morning and competing to make yourself better. You can see he enjoys that now.
And people forget
competitiveness.
13 yards. All right, let's go, let's go. Play with some urgency now. A little urgency. Watch the blitz. 92 Texas, X-curl, halfback wide, second sound, ready? Double left gun, 87, double fin and out, slot choice on 2-on-2, ready? Let's go. Move, the yellow eye left, zoom, pass, 57, slow, Z, deep, Lex on 2, ready? There's a 3-man line, okay? So just play a 3-man line. Second sound. Mike's 92, 92, set, touch. Touch. Set up. I was thrown to the back there. Keith Byers, right there. No, I was throwing to Keith Byers.
Hit 61.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to hit him. I'm trying to throw the ball to him.
It's a foul if you hit 61.
I'm trying to throw the
down only.
Okay. Yeah, well, right now, ain't no loss of down. We need all the downs we can get. Let's get a drive going, man. Let's get a drive going and score some damn points. Need a touchdown. Boy, he got jammed up. He got the one-on-one, bump and run. He got to win. How you handling that guy out there, Randall? How's he playing you? Has he been bailing, or is he just playing you hard press? Set hut! Hut! Good job, good job. Good job, man. Made me look good, huh, Randall? Hey, we get a rhythm going, they can't stop us, baby. You know what I'm saying? We get that little rhythm going, they can't stop us. I want you to run fade, stop. Double. Left gun, fly, 63 deep M on 2. Ready? Set! 180! 180! Hot touch! Hey, where did he go? Come here. Well, I run. I'm too old. I run to the end zone. At least say, you know, congratulations, baby. Good job.
That's the way to operate, Danny.
Just fade stop over there with the combination.
I ain't never been part of this where you can take it down the field that fast. Yeah. Nice job. Nice job.
And Dan's been doing that for a long time. And tonight, Marino returns to the Dome, where he set the NFL's all-time touchdown pass mark. Remember that from last year. But the man with the pass records, he's handing off 3 out of every 5 plays this year. As Ron Jaworski opens up the Dolphins' offensive playbook, yeah, it's a departure, Ron, but the pass is still a threat.
Yes, it is, Mike. And under Jimmy Johnson, really, they're no longer a pass-happy offense. But when they do throw, they throw with a purpose.
By the use of formation and personnel, you create opportunities for big plays. Here on the first play of the game last week, the Dolphins will split halfback Jarris McPhail to the left. And notice that both wideouts are on the right side of the formation at the top of the screen. This is game plan. The Dolphins know that the Jets flop their corners to match up with the 2 wide receivers. So that leaves the strong safety to match up with McPhail at the bottom of the screen. This is a matchup that favors Dan Marino and the Dolphins in the passing game. You see what happens. McPhail goes deep against the overmatched strong safety. This was designed to create a big play opportunity, and as you see, it will be successful. This play is a vivid example of how the game is a chess match. You game plan through formation and personnel to create matchups that give you the advantage. The Colts, unlike the Jets, do not flop their corners. You see the tight end on the left side and the two wideouts on the right at the top of the screen. What Indianapolis does is bring their weak safety, Jason Belzer, up to the line, head up on the slot receiver. That leaves the corner, here Derek Frazier, on the strong side. This gives you the matchup you want for your strong side running game. Corners are not as sturdy in run support as strong safeties. And you see that as Frazier backs up instead of attacking the running action. This will give the Dolphins their strong side running game behind Keith Sims and Richmond Webb.
The Colts defense is only giving up 3.4 yards per rush. But tonight, I expect to see the Dolphins attack that left side. They have a clear matchup that favors them. Richmond Webb, I'll get that one out, versus an aging Richard Dent or an undersized Tony Bennett, Joe.
Those dentures need a little
That's
work, don't they, Ronnie? You know, you brought up a really interesting point. You said they're only giving up 3.4 yards on the Colts are. It's interesting to me that I hear the name Miami Dolphins, and I think of Don Shula and Dan Marino over the last 10 years. Now, all of a sudden, here we are in '96, and I think of Jimmy Johnson and Don Shula. That makes sense. But all of a sudden, all you hear everybody talk about is Zach Thomas. Oh, what a linebacker he is. And Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, what a running back he is. Well, I think tonight, Dan Marino steps back into the limelight down in Miami, Sterling, and he's going to have to step up for this ball game because I don't think they're going to be able to run it.
I don't either, and I think they're going to get a break because the two corners for the Indianapolis Colts believe in jumping what they see, and they know they got two safeties back there helping them. Look for Eugene Daniels and Ray Buchanan to get double moved consistently tonight. Dan Marino should have a good time throwing the ball on the slant and goals and the out and ups, because these corners really go after what they think looks like out and slant routes.
When you say jump, you mean if he thinks, all right, I see you going like this, I'm going to gamble, right?
I'm going to get it.
Going to go to Vegas and roll some dice. We're going to go to Indianapolis right now and bring in ABC's Dan Deerdorf, getting ready to call the game with Al Franken-Swanee at the top of the hour. Dan, the Colts playing again without Marshall Faulk. It seems like they play a little bit better without him. We talked about that last week. Is it just looking for the other weapons on the offense?
This team has such an underdog mentality, Mike, that it seems the more adversity they have to face, the more it pulls them together, and they almost seem to relish that role. And you're right, I don't know that they're fazed by the loss of Marshall, and certainly mentally they don't seem to be.
As a broadcaster, when you come in, you get to spend some time the night before with the head coach, and you had that with Jimmy Johnson when he was the Dallas coach, and visit with him last night, now that he's the Miami coach. Do you sense anything different about Jimmy's approach?
No, I don't think Jimmy has changed one little bit. Jimmy is a believer that what he did in Dallas is the way to do it in Miami, and he's starting from scratch. He has a better nucleus of players than he had in Dallas when he first started. And what I sense about this game is I think you guys are right on when you talk about the role that Dan Marino is going to play tonight. I said to Jimmy, you haven't had to go to the candy store very often. That's what he refers to when he talks about Dan Marino. He says, yes, but he's still there, and I think it's open for business tomorrow night.
And that's a nice way to satisfy your sweet tooth. Dan, we'll see you guys coming up at the top of the hour on ABC.
All right,
as
Mike.
Prime Monday continues, some news on 40.
Both be part Erwin Rommel, and he doesn't even cringe at either description. This is a guy who doesn't celebrate Christmas. He doesn't say I love you. He liked Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, and last week I caught up with him.
This is how we take the old from the new, the old from the new.
Is this the dressing room or is this the football field?
They kept us later than people. I remember what you said about coming out here 1 second late.
Okay, all right.
Is it true that your heart beats 100 miles an hour on games?
Yeah, it still beats 100 miles an hour, and I think even getting ready for it. You know, the thing that I missed about the football part of it was not necessarily the game itself, but I missed getting ready for the big game. You know, I missed talking to the team, you know, getting ready in that week of the game and going out on the practice field and trying to get their energy up and try to get their focus toward practice. You know, people talk about, well, what do you say to them right before the game? Hey, once you get to the game, you know, the work's done.
What is it that you feel bonds the players together? Didn't you take them to see Tyson's fight?
Yeah, main thing is, you know, we had a 5-hour plane trip away from here to go out on the West Coast, and I wanted them to stay up late that night so they'd sleep in the next day. We had a night game the next day. But I think when you really work hard, I think when you have an off-season program like what we had, we only had 5 players didn't make 80% of the workout. That's 4 times a week starting back in March. It says something. They're all there working together. They're all lifting, running together. It bonds these players together.
Is it fair to say that your voluntary camp isn't really voluntary?
Well, for everybody that wants to be here, it's voluntary.
What can't you tolerate from players?
Laziness, being non-productive.
Out of here.
Yeah, that's business. I mean, if I'm the president of a company and I've got a salesman and he comes to work late all the time and he doesn't sell anything, I'm not going to keep him in the company. I'm going to fire him. I want guys that are productive and work very hard. If they work very hard and they're productive, hey, I'm their best friend. If they don't work very hard and they're not productive, they're not going to be around very long.
Are you emotionally aloof?
I don't know. I mean, I think that's the way I've always been. You know, I really pretty well keep to myself a lot of the time. And I think for the simple reason I've got a job to do. When I'm around people, you know, when I'm around the football players or the assistant coaches or the organization, I think it's very important that I have high energy, that I'm enthusiastic, that I'm positive, and I don't let them see me be down. You know, and obviously, just like everybody, I get down at times and I get depressed, but you know, during those periods of time, I like to be by myself. If I'm in this office with the door closed, or if I'm at home, I don't like to show that to the players because it's going to be contagious and it's going to affect them.
Do you still have some of the same rituals? Do you still get together with your guys and have Heineken on ice?
Yeah, I enjoy that. Not only is it relaxing for me to be with the coaches and to have a beer and just relax, it's also productive because so many things come out of that. So many ideas come across. You know, in a relaxed setting, they can say, well, Jimmy, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about this? Whereas if you're in the office or you're in a meeting and everybody's trying to get ready for a ball game, they're liable to not say that. You know, it's almost like a boss-employee relationship. Whereas if you're in a relaxed setting, now they're unequal and everybody's got ideas. And so a lot of productive things come out of those settings.
So just finally, what else makes your heart beat 100 miles an hour?
I can't say that on television.
Well, what he can say is that he's finally found inner peace and outer happiness. You might notice tonight he's lost about 25 or 30 pounds. He also says that he expects, not hopes or believes, but expects that Dan Marino will wear a Super Bowl ring in the next 3 years. Mike?
Leslie, thank you. When you talk about Jimmy Johnson, the word motivator comes to mind, and it brings to mind some other names as well.
It really does, Mike. I admire what Jimmy Johnson has done in Miami. I think of Mike Ditka, I think of Vince Lombardi, I think of Don Shula. Those 3 men, including Jimmy Johnson, in my mind, have had the ability to be able to go out and will victory from the sidelines. I love him being the disciplinarian he is. I love the fact that he doesn't take any guff, and he's not afraid to instill fear in the players. He cut Eric Green and traded Pete Stoyanovich. He chopped $4 million off his operating cap this year just to prove a point, and this football team's undefeated.
Jimmy Johnson's impact, it's clear, it's well-defined, and you know what to expect, like he said. He coaches game 100 tonight, and later we go back to the winningest coach, Don Shula, the ex-Colt player and Dolphin coach, whose near half-century in the NFL reads like a timeline of league history. That as we get ready to take a good look at Jim Harbaugh, the NFL's top-rated passer and Pro Bowler last year, getting ready for the Dolphins tonight. Winningest coach in the longest, in one of the strangest, and in one of the greatest games ever. He's Don Shula, tonight's Distant Replay.
For over 45 years, Don Shula has been a part of the NFL. During his playing career, number 25 was involved in the largest trade in football history. But being part of that record 15-player trade was only a prelude in the game's history book that often reads like Shula's own personal diary.
these were some of the players that I had played with only a few years earlier, and some of them much better football players than I ever dreamed of being in my playing career. Johnny Unitas and Lenny Moore and people like that. I had to go in and prove myself and let them know that I knew what I was doing.
438. Slow and calm. Listen to what the quarterback says in a huddle.
And once that was established, then they were able to do the things that I wanted them to do. Oh, I think that when it happened, I was just bitterly disappointed. You know, we were 17-point favorites.
Snell at the 5, Snell at the 3, Snell touchdown! The game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions.
You know, it really destroyed a relationship that I had with Carroll Rosenthal. 2 weeks earlier, after we had beaten Cleveland, in a press conference, he said, "I hope that Don Shula is the only coach that I ever hire." And then later on, after the Jets beat us, our relationship started to come apart. It really led to what made the determining factors of leaving Baltimore and going to Miami. It was a game that had so many big plays, so many exciting plays, and then it went into sudden death, and one period wasn't enough, and went into the second period, ended up getting the ball down in position for Garrow to kick the field goal, and he knocked it through there.
Here's the snap, step down, the kick is up. He's got the distance. It's good! The Dolphins win! The Dolphins win!
Way to come back and get it there. That's fine. Charlie, see the move? All right, he had the curl. When the ball was in the air, what did he do? He took about 2 steps back toward the ball, and that kept the cushion between he and the defense.
I think the best way to think about the perfect season is to understand the fact that nobody's ever done it before, and nobody's done it since then. It's a very, very intelligent football team. Guys that had a lot of pride.
Bob drops the throw. He sets up. He is firing for... He's got it! And he's in for the touchdown. The Dolphins have won Super Bowl VII and completed the greatest season in NFL history.
I think that's been voted the greatest game of the 80s. The hook lateral pass right before the half when the Chargers had taken an early lead. And I think Duriel Harris lateral to Tony Nathan, and we came up with that touchdown.
Miami's #1. Never give up on Miami. Never give up on the Shula team. Never give up on the Shula team.
In our football team, I was very, very proud of them, although we didn't win the football game, but truly one of the great games ever played. The greatest game of the 80s. If I had enough sense, I would have run out and thrown myself in front of the snowplow and stopped it that way. But I stood there and let it happen, and the referee stood there and let it happen, and their coach, Ron Meyer, was out there pointing to the spot that he wanted to plow to hit. And I think if there was ever a game where the score should have been changed after the game was over, I think that there was a situation there where the field goal should have been erased and should have been declared a scoreless tie.
We know what it's going to take. It's going to take 60 minutes of hell for these guys. Let's go. 1, 2, 3,
I was put on notice early by members of the family that they hoped that I understood that they would have to root for Dave against me, because Dave was the young football coach, and every win was important for him in his career. And before the game and until the ball was kicked off, you know, I just had this great sense of pride, knowing that, again, I was part of something that had never happened before.
Then we need a drive on offense. We need a drive. We got to put it together. We got to start running with the ball, hands protected, making plays.
To win the most games in the National Football League, you know, you had to be around for a long period of time. I knew that someday I would be able to reflect and look back and say that, you know, I've won the most games, and I take a great deal of pride in that accomplishment.
It seems doubtful that another coach will ever win more games. It's even less likely that any other person will take part in more historic football events than Don Shula.
Distant Replay is brought to you by the new Dodge. We're thinking ahead. Are you ready for some football?
The Miami Dolphins with 23-year-old Dan Marino at quarterback were the AFC champions of the 1984 season. But in the Super Bowl, Marino and the Dolphins were crushed by the force of the San Francisco 49ers. He has not been back to the Super Bowl since. But what a career it has been for Dan Marino. In 14 years, he has set NFL records for career passing totals in every major statistical category. While Marino has been eyeing the big trophy, he is well aware of his place in the NFL record book.
If my back was against the wall, yeah, I would trade in for a Super Bowl ring, and that is my goal, to win a Super Bowl before I'm done playing.
Jimmy Johnson knows Super Bowls. He won 2 of them with Dallas, and now he is Marino's head coach. Don Shula has left him with one of the greatest players to ever play the game. The ultimate prize still awaits the grasp of Dan Marino. It's a battle of the unbeatens, the Miami Dolphins and the Indianapolis Colts, on ABC's Monday Night Football.
Mobilize Indianapolis.
Our special forces are in full flight. Miami invades Indy's happy home. Division rivals meet under the dome. We gotta get ready. We gotta get right. The Dolphins and the Colts shoot it out tonight. So get ready. I mean, get ready. Are you ready for some football? A Monday Night Football. We got Frank and Al and Dan. They're gonna get it kick-started. Lynn and the crew's all set. The crowd is psyched, 'cause all my rowdy friends are barking.
Downtown Indianapolis, Indiana, it is rocking and shaking tonight. The Indianapolis Colts back home after a big win in Dallas last week. Sellout crowd on hand, 60,000 plus. And there are many thousands more who would like to be here when the Indianapolis Colts meet the Miami Dolphins. Hello again, everyone. Frank Gifford with Al Michaels and Dan Deerdorf. Super matchup for you tonight. A tremendous crowd here. They are excited here in Indianapolis. The Colts coming off a big win for them in Dallas a week ago, and that win down there was almost a reflection of their entire season of a year ago. First of all, they came from behind to win. At one point, they were down 18 points. They had some improbable heroes, and they have a lot of them here. And, of course, Captain Comeback, their quarterback, Jim Harbaugh, never seems to know when they are beaten. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, also unbeaten and coming into tonight, have an improbable 3-0 record, considering that this is the first year of a turnaround on the part of Jimmy Johnson. They come in with a lot of new players, a new attitude, Al. We've heard a lot about that. A new philosophy, but they come in with a great quarterback. He's still there, Dan Marino.
What a constant to have, too. And, you know, Frank, he's passing less and enjoying it more, because the Dolphins have run the ball an astonishingly high 59% of the time through their first 3 games. They have a great-looking rookie running back out of UCLA by the name of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Rookie fullback starting, Stanley Pritchett, and a rookie middle linebacker in Zach Thomas. So Jimmy Johnson continues to mold the Dolphins in his image. But keep in mind, they're 3-0, but the 3 teams the Dolphins have beaten have a composite record right now of 3-9. So as the Don Shula Dolphins continue to become the Jimmy Johnson Dolphins, tonight provides a real litmus test for Miami. And they come into Indianapolis, where, Dan, this is not so much a game, but a celebration and huge party.
It has been a while since we've been in a city, Al, that has been this turned on for a Monday night contest. They've been waiting for this for a long time in Indianapolis, and it has come tonight, and their opponent is the Miami Dolphins. We talked about the town believes in this team because the team believes in themselves. Frank mentioned that they came from behind 18 points to beat the Dallas Cowboys last week. Last year, this team really found itself when they came back twice from 21-point deficits to win. They finished the season at a rather pedestrian 9-7, but then the playoff wins on the road in San Diego and Kansas City, and they were 1 pass away from going to the Super Bowl. This is one turned-on football team led by maybe the most courageous player in the NFL, and I think that's Jim Harbaugh. It seems that the more bad things happen to him, the better he plays, and he is the undisputed leader of this football team, and if they are to win tonight, it'll be because of something that Jim Harbaugh did. Down on the field, as always, is Lynn Swann. and he's got the man from Miami, Jimmy Johnson.
Thank you very much, Dan. Jimmy, it's Monday Night Football, two undefeated teams, division matchup, a lot of hype. But what's the value for you as a coach in this ball game?
Well, Lynn, obviously we want to get to the ultimate big game. And if we're going to ever get there, we're going to have to be able to win some games in a hostile setting like this in this dome with all this noise when nobody thinks we can. I guys believe they can.
I have an old friend named Lee Grosskopf. He's always asking about the keys in your pocket. Give me the one key for the ball game.
Well, I think when you have a game where everybody's on edge and everybody's hyped up, a lot of times you have some crazy plays happen early in the game. And a lot of times there's turnovers. I think we've got to protect the football and not let them get the momentum. We've got to try to get the crowd out of it.
Okay, Coach, good luck to you. Have a good night.
Okay.
Al?
All right, thank you, Len. I think the key thing Jimmy said is we have to get the crowd out of it. If the Colts get off to a roaring start, it will be very difficult to get the crowd out of it.
It's going to take a lot of bad things happening to the blue and white to take this crowd down below a level. This is as noisy as we have ever heard it in any stadium. Of course, the dome doesn't help. It keeps the noise inside the house, and the Dolphins will be going on silent snap counts, doing a lot of different things to try to combat it, but it is definitely something that they have to deal with.
Only the fourth Monday Night Football game to be played in Indianapolis in this, their 13th season. Aaron Bailey back to receive the kick. Joe Nedney to kick off. Bailey had a long return against Dallas on the opening kickoff, nullified by a penalty last week. And the man who replaced Pete Stoyanovich, Joe Nedney, shows you why he has replaced Stoyanovich. Stoyanovich may have been the better place kicker, but Nedney with booming kickoffs, and that's one reason Jimmy Johnson made the choice for number 6 over Stoyo. Now the Indianapolis Colts, the unbeaten Colts with Jim Harbaugh, captain comeback, led the league in pass rating last season. He has Lamont Warren and Zach Crockett in the backfield. Marshall Faulk is inactive, sprained toe. Dawkins and Harrison, a great-looking rookie wideout, and Dilger the tight end. Ozine, Wydell, Loudermilk, Malum, and Matthews in a revamped offensive line. From the 20-yard line, first down as they begin out of the eye with Harrison in motion, and Harbaugh telling him to hurry it up. And through the middle for a gain of a couple of yards with the ball loose at the 22-yard line. A fumble on the opening play. Lamont Warren, the ball carrier, and no signal yet from the official, and Indianapolis has recovered. Dick Hantak right there to signal second down. And it appeared Warren recovered his own fumble, so a gain of a little bit more than 2. And it will be second down and 7.
The Colts straight. Marshall Faulk unable to go again tonight because of a sprained toe. There he is. They should have him back after a week off next week when they go against Buffalo.
Play clock ticking down. The fake to Warren. Harbaugh buys time and then throws to Warren, and he's tackled short of the first down up at the 28-yard line. Steve Empman, the former Colt, makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd and 2. Armstrong, Empman, Bowens, and Stubbs up front. The linebackers, Hollier. We talked about Zach Thomas, the 5th-round draft choice, and Singleton. And then the secondary, Buckley and Jackson at the corners, and Oliver and Atkins at the safeties. Buckley and Oliver have intercepted passes in each of the Dolphins' first 3 games. Terrell has a total of 4. 3rd and 2.
4 wides for the Colts.
And Harbaugh out of the shotgun. 3 of the wideouts set to his right. Harbaugh throws incomplete. He tried to hit Brian Stabline, who was covered by Sean Hill. So it's 3 and out, but the Colts, in effect, pretty lucky because they almost coughed up the football in the first play.
Daniel Stubbs with a little bit of pressure there, Dan. From the outside, forcing Harbaugh to throw that just before he wanted to. Lindy Infante, the head coach, also calls the plays from the sidelines. A very unusual situation, but he didn't want to change it this year. Pressure from Stubbs. He had to deliver. Receiver not ready.
Troy Ozine at left tackle has not gotten off to the greatest of starts. He's a fairly solid player, but this is a revamped offensive line for the Colts that has not yet, let's say, found their sea legs, Frank. You're right. They have not gelled yet.
And the Colts were screwed up on their special teams here and have to take a timeout as they get ready to punt on 4th down and 2. So an inauspicious beginning. 4th and 2 when we come back. Kept hovering high above downtown Indianapolis, a party town tonight. In the gloaming, high above Indy as clouds and a little bit of rain begin to move in, but very comfortable, of course, as always, inside the dome. And O.J. McDuffie back to receive the punt. The Colts had only 10 men on the field, so had to take a timeout, and now Gardocki to kick. So 3 and out on the first series for Indianapolis, a minute and a half into the game. Good kick. 51 yards to the 21-yard line, and the flag goes down as McDuffie takes it back to the 27-yard line. Tackled there by Freddie Joe Nunn.
When you look at the start of that offensive series for the Colts guys, you know, we see it all the time that the hometown hype sometimes takes its toll early in the ball game on the hometown team. That they get a little caught up in it. That it's all anybody's been talking about for the last week, and it's only natural that at times it affects the players. And I'm sure Lindy Infante, the coach, is a little concerned about that.
Back during the return, number 37, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Sometimes in that situation, it's really easier to start on defense.
Penalty against J.B. Brown, and now let's take a look at the Dolphins. Offensively, the great Dan Marino. First-round pick out of Pittsburgh in 1983 with the 2 rookies, Abdul-Jabbar and Pritchett, Thomas and McDuffie, the wideouts, and Keith Byers, the longtime fullback, now a full-time tight end. Webb Sims, Ruddy Gray, and James Brown up front. And that line has done a wonderful job run blocking in the first 3 games. That's McDuffie going in motion from the 15-yard line, and our first look at Abdul-Jabbar out of UCLA, and he gets taken down. Good play by the outside linebacker Stephen Graham, who salutes himself after making the tackle. No gain. Now the Colts defensively, their end Tony Bennett still hurt, so Whittington starts at left end with McCoy and Siragusa inside, and Steve Martin, a rookie, making his first NFL start. Alexander Harrod and Corey out of the linebackers. And the secondary, Buchanan, a great one, along with Daniel at the corners, and Tate and Belzer, the hard-hitting safeties.
Second and long, it should dictate pass, and Dan is not going to be able to change this thing with the noise. Listen to this crowd.
From the 15, the fake to buy time, and then he throws into traffic, and it's incomplete, and a flag goes down. Tony Siragusa nearly picked it off, but there's a marker down, and the penalty is against Miami for holding.
Well, almost certainly it's going to go against Tim Ruddy, their center.
Holding, offense, number 61, penalty is declined, third down.
Ruddy at center working against Tony McCoy, and McCoy got the strong upfield underarm on him, and he's forced to take the hold, but I guess fortunately for him, they're going to decline the penalty. Right on the right side of your screen right there, you see the hold. But listen to this crowd.
3rd and 9 from the 16. No score, 2.5 minutes into the game. Marino throws underneath to Jarris McPhail, another rookie, and he picks up the first down. They needed 9, got 14. He's up to the 29-yard line. Jarris McPhail, a rookie from East Carolina. So a rookie starting running back, a rookie starting fullback, and a rookie third down back.
Jarris McPhail is a good receiver, as is Pritchard. They're a big fullback. Pritchard, a fine receiver in college out of South Carolina. Look at this. So Jarris McPhail, who took the first pass of the game against the Jets, and the Dolphins went over the Jets last week from Marino for 52 yards. So they have good receivers out of the backfield.
1st and 10 at the 29-yard line. Abdul-Jabbar over the left side for a gain of about 3 up to the 32. Steve Martin, the end, makes the tackle. Marino, as we mentioned at the very top, passing less and less, but they're 3-0. And there he is, 22 passes in the opener, 23 against Arizona, 23 against the Jets. First time in his career he's thrown fewer than 25 over a 3 consecutive game period. On 2nd and 8. He sidearms the ball into the arms of Stanley Pritchett, and the fullback takes it up to the 35-yard line. Pritchett, not a runner, but a great blocker and an outstanding receiver.
He did. As a senior at South Carolina, he had 62 receptions. He comes in tonight having caught 8 of them. He had a 74-yard touchdown pass against the Jets. And they really use these backs because Keith Byers is playing tight end, but he really is not a solid tight end that Dan Marino is confident in going to. Look at the sidearm delivery to avoid the interior lineman. Marino's got it all, Dan. They came up the middle with pressure on Dan Marino, which is the most effective way to pressure Marino. The last third down situation, they only came with 3 people, and the Dolphins converted. They're going to run out of time right here.
So each team has to take a timeout. Dan disgusted that he had to waste one here. 4:35 into the game, and the noise not making it any easier. Early in Indy, 0-0. Miami having to take a timeout. Gary Stevens, the man on the right, a holdover from the Shula regime, but he'd also been with Jimmy Johnson in college football, has remained as the offensive coordinator. He looks on as the Dolphins take a 3rd and 4 up to the 35-yard line early in the first quarter. Four-man conventional rush, and the pass is caught by Pritchard, who seeks the first down and appears to have it. He's rolled down by Stephen Grant, but Pritchard, with the presence of mind to know exactly where the marker was, reaches out and should have enough, and does, says Dick Hantak.
Oh, he's an exciting rookie. In the 4th round, the Dolphins picked him out of South Carolina. That ball had a lot of smoke on it. He handled it great. Right alley, knew exactly where he had to go. And this ball really has something on it. Marino zipping it in there, and Pritchard handles it beautifully. That's hard to catch. That ball was in a good position, but it had a lot on it. He knew exactly what he had to do for the first.
And Grant still hasn't gotten up. He now gets up and he'll walk off.
Keep in mind now, Stephen Grant is a guy who missed the Dallas game last week with a pulled groin muscle. Got off to a good start, but this is not good news for the Colts.
Another injury. Stephen Grant out, but there's the great linebacker Quentin Coryat, who also gets some attention. So the starting outside linebackers for the moment are out, and you've got Elijah Alexander, number 50, in the game, and also Sammy Burrows.
And keep in mind, Al, one of them, Trev Alberts, is already gone for the early part of the season, so it's a very depleted linebacker corps.
From the 39-yard line, Marino throws, and a nice catch is made on the near side by Lamar Thomas for a first down. And Dan, this is the same team that played last week's game against Dallas with about 25% of its payroll inactive.
Well, even tonight, they're missing both of their starting defensive ends, and Ellis Johnson and Tony Bennett. And now with Grant sideline, Coryat sideline, Derek Frazier, who would have been a starting corner, has gone with a broken arm. We mentioned Alberts. And we're just on the defensive side of the football. Vintage Dan Marino, low and outside. Nobody in the world could catch that ball except Lamar Thomas. Beautifully thrown.
9 minutes to play in the opening quarter, a slow-moving quarter with no score. This is Miami's first possession, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar can't go to the outside. He tried to, but Sammy Burrows was right there to stop him. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Ford Escort. It's new and it's nifty, made for the smart, the intelligent, thrifty. Napa Auto Parts stores. At Napa, we keep America running. Microsoft Software, where do you want to go today? And Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. State capital of Indiana in your shot right there. Jimmy Johnson looking on as his team has its 9th play of the drive. Ready to be snapped. 2nd down and 11. And Marino tries to gun it into Thomas, who gets double teamed and draws the flag. Eugene Daniel was there along with Sammy Burrows.
Eugene Daniel just a little early there.
Interference. Defense number 38. First down.
That's so tough to defend against, that slant in when you're a defensive back, and you have a passer like Dan Marino. He's going to put it right on the money every time, and you have to time it out absolutely perfectly, or you're going to have the completion or the interference. You saw it right there. He got there before the ball.
Jimmy Johnson's are wild tonight. The head coach, you've got the defensive coordinator for the Colts, Jim Johnson, And we'll see the tight end Jimmy Johnson of the Philadelphia Eagles next week against Dallas. Marino going deep for McDuffie, and he adjusts and makes the catch and then loses the ball out of bounds. A great adjustment by McDuffie to come back against Buchanan, and then when he fumbles it, it goes out of bounds, and Miami has a 1st and goal.
McDuffie is really developing into what they thought it'd be when they took him the first round 4 years ago. That was a great effort on his part. Marino just laying it up there. Ray Buchanan had pretty good position on him. He lost sight of the football and started to sprint with McDuffie. McDuffie pulled up an easy catch.
Marino, 5 of his first 6. Crowd trying to jam the signals. Abdul-Jabbar tackled at the 6-yard line by Tony Siragusa. You know, Dan Marino is limping. Been watching him. He is having a hard time.
He always limps, Frank, but you're right. This is a painful. He's almost hobbling now.
Here's the Coca-Cola Red Zone fact for tonight. Dan Marino, going back to the start of last season, has had 7 interceptions with the line of scrimmage inside the red zone. In other words, the opponent's 20-yard line, most by any player in the league. So we'll see if he can cash in and avoid the pickoff here as they have it 2nd down and goal from the 6-yard line. And he throws behind Lamar Thomas, covered by Daniel. It'll be 3rd down and goal now.
And Dan Marino is noticeably handicapped in the way he's moving. And that look, you can see right there, Dan Marino, I think it's his left leg.
I think they're right, Dan. I've been watching him, and he doesn't want to put weight on that right leg.
Or the right or the left? He's almost
either one. He's hurt.
Yeah, it's.
Might have been hit on the pass to McDuffie, the long pass, and clearly in some pain here. Play clock all the way down to 5 already. And gingerly, he stands in the pocket and throws incomplete through a bullet into the end zone intended for McDuffie. 4th down.
Well, McDuffie is claiming that he was interfered with, and it was very close.
McDuffie drawing double coverage. And another Dolphin slow getting up.
And Marino gingerly walks off the field. And
that's Keith Sims, the left guard. That's their Pro Bowl left guard. They're looking at his left hand or left wrist. But the other part of the Dolphin training staff came out on the field to meet Dan Marino as he headed to the sidelines. Boy, and there's a guy looking for a bench.
Quickly.
And he is one of the toughest guys you'll ever see in a uniform, but he was in obvious pain for that entire series.
Everyone aware of his problems with his Achilles tendon, and you certainly hope that that's not the case, that that's resurfacing.
Injured it in 93 and missed most of the season as Nedney gets set for a 24-yard attempt. So the new Dolphin place kicker, who's had his troubles kicking field goals, he's already missed 3 field goals and a point after. This is an easy one from 24. Easy for us to say, as he just does bang it through. Jimmy exhales. Miami cashes in for 3. 7:05 to go in the period. Dolphins 3, Colts nothing. Well, keep an eye on Dan Marino as they work on him.
They've taken the tape off of his right leg. It was his right Achilles that he tore October 10th in 93 at that game in Cleveland. And they have taken the tape off around his ankle.
As Nedney kicks off, his first kickoff was a touchback. This one is a good kick. It's a yard deep in the end zone, and the stumbling Aaron Bailey comes out and brings it back to the 19. Now, if Marino can't go, you've got Bernie Kosar as the number 2 quarterback as Harbaugh gets set to come in, and Craig Erickson, the former Colt, is the number 3 quarterback.
That is Dan Marino's thumb and finger that we can see in the upper right part of our picture. They're pointing to his lower leg. Again, we don't want to speculate that it is the Achilles until we get some type of confirmation from the Dolphins bench.
I find it interesting Bernie Kosar is not even up off the bench warming up. So could be that, you know, he's got his cap on, very casual about it.
Well, Bernie's got to be ready to go, because if there's a turnover, Dan can't get out on the field that quickly.
I would think so.
From the 20-yard line, Harbaugh loves this play to throw on the run and hits the tight end, Ken Dilger, the emerging star, second-year tight end out of Illinois, who had 4 catches against the Jets for 20 or more yards each. Louis Oliver makes the tackle.
Dolphins are going to try to keep Jim Harbaugh from getting to the outside. That time you saw Trace Armstrong coming up field trying to contain him, but I'll tell you, he is good from the pocket, but when he gets outside of the pocket, he is really deadly. A superb athlete.
Second and a deuce. Zach Thomas, the 5th-round draft choice, the starting middle linebacker. Nice play as Gene Atkins makes the tackle on Zach Crockett, who gets his first carry of the night, and the first down up at the 33-yard line.
And the first down for the Colts offense, and that's, as an offensive player, that's when you kind of take that sigh, that deep breath. Okay, we got a first down. We're starting to settle down a little bit. And again, all of South Florida holding their collective breath until we find out what's wrong with Dan Marino.
Lindy Infante in his first season as the Colts coach. Lindy coached the Packers from 88 through 91 and took over when Ted Marchibroda elected to move on to Baltimore. On first down, the pass is dropped this time by Crockett, who's covered on the play by Dwight Hollier with 5:44 to go in the opening quarter, and Miami on top 3-0. Well, next week, a vital game all of a sudden, because the Dallas Cowboys are 1-3 and looking at a 3-game deficit in the East. If they lose next week's game, the Cowboys, still minus Michael Irvin for one more game, will go to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles. And we understand Kevin Williams is now hurt for the Cowboys as well, so more problems for Dallas.
We have a smiling Dion there in our picture. I doubt there's a lot of smiling going on at Valley Ranch this week.
Big game next week at the Vet. Dallas, Philly, 2nd down and 10. Harbaugh throws, and the catch is made by the rookie Marvin Harrison. He was the #1 draft choice out of Syracuse, and they think he is the real deal.
Well, that's coming back for the football. He came back either to the line of scrimmage, or he might have caught that for a loss. Very close. Marvin Harrison, write this guy's name down, Frank, as we're all aware. This guy's big time and will be for quite a while.
He just came in total control of everything. He was at the first minicamp, signed a waiver before he signed his contract. He wanted to be here. He wanted to learn it, and he picked it up so quickly.
This guy is good.
3rd down and 10 now with 5:05 to go in the opening quarter. Harbaugh protected well and then throws too high off the fingertips of Aaron Bailey. Just a little high.
Oh, one Bailey, I'm sure, feels he should have had. It was high, but it was one that I'm sure he's telling himself he should have caught.
Now Kosar begins to loosen up.
Interesting. If something should happen to Kosar, they would come back with a former Colt, Craig Erickson.
That's just, you know, that would have been a circus catch for Bailey. I'm sure Jim Harbaugh disappointed over on the Colts bench. He had an open receiver and just tossed it a little high.
Chris Gardocki to punt. O.J. McDuffie back to receive it. And only a 36-yard boot, so a short one. Miami will take over at its 31. Wither Marino. It looks like it'll be Kosar with 4:49 to go in the quarter. 3-zip Miami. On a very nice evening in Indianapolis, a city that has really grown in the 3 years we've been away. Beautiful new mall downtown. High rises. And
what they call
tonight rocking.
City Center or Center Mall, whatever.
It'll take the lamination off your credit card. First down for Miami with Kosar in the game, and Abdul-Jabbar is stopped for no gain. And the report on Marino is a sprained right ankle. He'll be out for this series as they retape his foot and ankle, and then it's we'll see about the following series.
Well, I hate to speculate, Dan, but Dan and I both watched them retape Marino's ankle, and I've never seen an ankle taped that way.
No, I'd never had either. And what has to happen now, the natural order is that Dan will get up. There it is. You see how they've incorporated his big toe. They've actually tied this tape job to his big toe. What Dan has to do now is get his shoes on, get up, take some drops, plant, put the weight on it, and see how he feels with it.
2nd and 9. And Kosar with that familiar slingshot sidearm pass into the arms of O.J. McDuffie, and that's enough for a first down up at the 43-yard line. Tackled there by Jeff Harrod.
Kosar with a lot of victories with the Cleveland Browns in 9 years there, and a year with Jimmy Johnson down in Dallas before he spent the last 2 years here in Miami. We look again at tough pass to defend against, particularly with O.J. McDuffie. You get the ball into his hands, you like to get it to him early and let him run with the football.
But a huge plus for Miami right now is this newfound reliance on the running game.
Yep. Fred Barnett, part of the passing game, but hurt. They expect to have him back at the end of October. The wide receiver is Abdul-Jabbar, gets it up to the 47-yard line. He's tackled there by Alexander with 3:15 to go in the opening quarter.
I pointed out earlier, the Dolphins come in 3-0 with a good-looking ground game that Jimmy Johnson wanted from the very moment he got there. And
did you just see that?
Oh, he winced.
Did you see Dan?
A lot of pain.
Did you see Dan's face as he put some weight on that right foot? Ooh, there's a classic picture worth 1,000 words.
It is now second down and 6. Marino was 5 of 8 for 67 yards. Now Kosar with the play fake to buy time, and the pass is knocked down. Getting a hand in was David Tate, the safety, reaching over the tight end Brett Carroll.
Well, we have seen some tight coverage by the Colts. Jimmy obviously feeling it's too tight. One penalty so far against the Colts, but these guys are all over. Oh, and that's just good old-fashioned solid coverage by David Tate. Now again, watch Dan Marino not really trying to do anything, just taking a step forward.
Third down and 6. Miami up 3-0 late in the first quarter, and the pass is juggled and caught, but well short of the first down. Stanley Pritchett hauls it in, but Eugene Daniel makes sure he goes no further than the 50, and it's 4th down, and they'll bring in the punting unit.
It'd be a tough loss for the Miami Dolphins, even with the fact this is a younger team. This is the team that is so dependent upon a Dan Marino, even though Bernie Kosar has been around a while, veteran with a lot of wins at Cleveland. You lose a Dan Marino, and not only does it affect you strategically, but it also affects you emotionally with a young team like this.
Marvin Harrison back to receive the kick on 4th down off the foot of John Kidd. And the 13-year veteran out of Northwestern floats one down that bounces at the 6-yard line and is down inside the 5-yard line. Robert Bailey is down there to pin the Colts very deep with a $1:47 to go in the opening period. 47-yard punt. College football coming your way this Saturday here on ABC. And it will be you. Oh, you mean, did Arizona State play this weekend?
I heard they did. How'd
they do?
I heard they beat Nebraska.
Oh, did you?
Is that true?
Really?
Al, of course, an Arizona State alum, has been busting his buttons all weekend.
You mean our Booth didn't do badly this weekend?
Yeah. Hantak throwing the flag.
We saw Darrell Gardner, number 92, rock off of his stance to get in the neutral zone. Now we'll find out whether he was yanked or not.
Gardner, the first-round pick, playing with a sore ankle.
Offense.
He was.
The snap. Number 85. Penalized half the distance to the goal line. Still first down.
I think they called Ken Dilger, the tight end. And here is this is a guy quickly approaching the best tight end in the National Football League status.
He is a brute, too.
Yes,
6'5",
sir.
260 pounds.
Only his second year.
On first down and 11, it's Lamont Warren, who went to high school with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the two of them playing at Dorsey High School in Los Angeles, along with a wide receiver by the name of Keyshawn Johnson. Right, yeah, the current Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There he is. Marino, we're being told now, is doubtful for the rest of the half, and they'll reevaluate him at halftime.
And I don't think that that's the least bit surprising after looking at Dan trying to put weight on that foot.
It is now second down and 8 with a minute to go in the quarter. And the out pattern is caught. Sean Dawkins makes the catch and picks up the first down with that extra effort up to the 14-yard line.
Extra effort, Allen, extra size. He's big, 6'4", 210, 215 pounds, and he just bowled his way to a first down. Working against the 5'8" Calvin Jackson. Now watch this. Jackson had a shot at him, just bounces off.
Well, Jackson's got to attempt to tackle him. Watch Jackson, he's just going to take a shot at him up around the neck. That will not do it against Sean Dawkins. And I doubt we'll see Calvin Jackson try that the rest of the game.
From the 14-yard line, a draw. And it's Crockett who gets upended by Thomas up at the 22-yard line. Good penetration that time, and the handoff made as the charge was made into the backfield by Empman, and they just did get the play away.
Boy, but there is one of the reasons that Jimmy Johnson loves Zach Thomas. That there is a quality open field tackle. He did not need anybody's help. He's back in pass coverage. He drops back when he sees the quarterback drop, but when he's left with a one-on-one, boy, that's as good an open field tackle as you'll get.
2nd and 1. And Cliff Gross on his first carry of the night picks up the first down as the quarter ends. They work on Marino. Miami leads 3-0 after 1. And Monday Night Football returns after this message and a word from our to start the second quarter. It's Harbaugh hitting Dawkins. Good move, and he picks up about 9.5. Shane Burton making the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and inches.
Let's look at Lindy and Fanny's offense. It's very high percentage stuff, and nobody reads it better than Harbaugh. Looking 1, 2, 3, and then firing.
Total yards in favor of the Miami Dolphins. Only 8 yards rushing for the Dolphins, though, which is very uncharacteristic. Although in these first 3 wins of theirs this season, they have been a much more productive running team in the second half of the game than the first. But 8 yards in a quarter is a little less, I think, than they'd like to have.
2nd and inches up at the 35-yard line, and they stay on the ground and give it to Lamont Warren. And he's up to the 40-yard line for a Colt first down. Tackled there by Oliver and Gardner. A look at Marino's foot. Now, Kosar is the number 2 quarterback. Erickson, as I mentioned before, the former Colt, is the number 3 quarterback. But remember, as the number 3 quarterback, unless you're on the 45-man roster, and he's not, if he comes into the game in the first, second, or third quarters, that means that Marino and Kosar cannot play. He can only play in the fourth quarter, and then you can make another move to one of the other guys. But he'll just have to cool his heels as Bernie Kosar takes over until Marino's ready, if. And Harbaugh throws and hits Dawkins for another first down at the Miami 46-yard line. That's a rule that they changed a couple of years ago.
And Dawkins with a good move against Calvin Jackson.
Well, yeah, I think he took Calvin Jackson right out of his shoes.
Jackson looking for something deep. Plant that right foot, break it to the outside, and Harbaugh, who's not one of the great passers in the world, was right there. And this is about as tough a passer you want to throw.
And Calvin Jackson, he did throw a tread right there. He lost his left shoe. There's his left shoe, Calvin Jackson. Dawkins will get a good yuck when he watches that on the film. They like to torment defensive backs when they can.
First down at the Dolphin 46-yard line. Lamont Warren behind Crockett. And Crockett can't lay down the block. Gene Atkins fights it off and makes the tackle at the 44-yard line.
Pitch plays either to the left or the right traditionally have not had a lot of success against Jimmy Johnson defenses. Jimmy's such a great team speed believer, and that's a relatively slow developing play, and even the defensive linemen have time to get off blocks and get out into that type of coverage and pursuit.
And of course they're playing their safeties now Jimmy Johnson style, strong on the run support. Oliver and Atkins both tough against the run.
12:25 to the half. Miami leading 3-0. 2nd down and 8 from the 44-yard line. Blitz. They send 6, and the pass has gotten off into the arms of Lamont Warren, who stays in bounds long enough to pick up the first down at the 34-yard line. Run out by Oliver.
Time Warren lined up, split out to the right, lined up against the safety. Now, Lewis Oliver is a big man. He is good on the run support. He is good in the deep zone. He's not good on man-for-man coverage.
He almost looked surprised, didn't he, Frank, when he confronted Warren out in the flat?
Well, this is what The Dolphins actually did this to the Jets a week ago also. Set back out, get that safety man who's not used to the individual coverage, and they'll beat him.
Louis Oliver, one of the biggest hitters in the league, a little tentative there.
10th play of this drive from the 34-yard line. Take the inside handoff to Workman and going deep into the end zone, and a nice play made at the very end as it floated, and Louis Oliver bats it away from the intended receiver, Dilger.
Oliver got there that time. Dilger, Dan talked about him a moment ago, turning into one of the fine tight ends. He's big. Harbaugh would have liked to have had about another foot on that, but Oliver with pretty good position.
Yeah, Dilger with good speed, but he's not going to run away from Louis Oliver. Oliver just textbook coverage on that play. That's exactly the way you want your strong safety to run with the tight end.
2nd and 10 now. This drive began at the Colt 3 after that great John Kidd punt. Now from the Miami 35 on 2nd and 10. He's going deep again. He's going for the rookie Harrison. There's contact, but no flag. Terrell Buckley back there with him. One-on-one. Buckley and Harrison, and clearly there was contact, but no yellow.
I think they were looking for Buckley to maybe take a gamble on an out move by Harrison. Harrison didn't give him a very strong one. Buckley will do that. He will gamble. Harrison with a little lean to the outside, but there's a lot of contact. I tell you, that could have drawn a flag.
Well, I don't know how it didn't draw a flag before that.
You can't make that contact beyond 5 yards.
No, there was major contact. We saw just the tail of it, but Buckley was locked up in there. That's very fortunate.
3rd and 10, trips right. Harbaugh from the gun and has to take a timeout disgustedly. That's the 2nd Indianapolis timeout. 11:35 left in the first half. It's still Miami 3, Indianapolis nothing. In Indianapolis, Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Lynn Swan. Monday Night Football here for the first time in 3 years. And the Indianapolis Colts and Miami Dolphins, 2 unbeaten teams. It's 3-0 Miami as Indy has it 3rd and 10 at the Miami 34.
This is kind of a classical Colt drive. It started at their 5-yard line. Nothing spectacular. It was a 4-yard line, make it the 3-yard line.
Inside, they're in a range here that if they don't convert here, it would be about a 51-yarder for Blanchard, well within his range.
And nothing dramatic, just moving the ball, moving the chains.
He kicked a 51-yarder last week against Dallas. 3rd down and 10, and the catch is made underneath, and they won't have to think about the field goal right now, but there's a flag down. Stabline makes the catch. Harbaugh went down. Johnson wants a hold. Hancock says it's against Miami for a personal foul.
It could have been against Entman, a former Indianapolis Colt, a former #1 draft pick, former first pick in the draft.
Well, Entman was standing there.
Roughing the passer defense, number 96.
Gonna go against Stubbs, I guess.
Entman was actually giving the signal that it was holding against the Colts.
He was wishful thinking.
That's Stubbs coming in from behind. Oh, and Stubbs falls into the back of the back of Jim Harbaugh's legs. And his crowd reacting to that, thinking that this was an attempt to injure him. In his defense, Stubbs' head was down so low, I don't think that he could see that Harbaugh threw the ball. Yep. Well, he came in very low, but when his head is down at that angle, I think you have to give him the benefit of the doubt that he did not see Harbaugh throw the football.
He was locked up with Troy Ozine, and he had no idea.
Yeah.
I don't think that.
No, I don't think so either.
Big penalty. They go from 3rd and 10 and barely in field goal range. The 1st and 10 at the 11-yard line. Tight formation. 3 receivers to the left. He goes that way to Warren, who makes the catch at the 9. Tackled by Atkins, and Harbaugh gets knocked down again.
Terrell Buckley came on the outside corner blitz and unloaded on Harbaugh, but Harbaugh, he's one tough cookie. He saw the blitz. He knew that he had the man to go to. Knew he was going to get hit. Doesn't seem to bother him.
Well, I think when you're Jim Harbaugh, if you want to get hit by anybody on the blitz, you take a corner that weighs 5'9" and 175 pounds. That's not Dick Butkus running you over right there.
Watch 27. Almost getting back there was Jason Matthews, but not quite.
Buckley did all he could do, but I think Jim Harbaugh survived those.
2nd and 7 now. 10:22 to go in the half. Miami leading 3-0. Harbaugh throws. Catch made by the rookie Harrison, who takes it to the 1-yard line, and that's enough for a first down. First and goal from the 1.
Boy, that's such a good look at Lindy and Fanny's offense. His scheme of things, you have to be able to read it well. Harbaugh does it beautifully. 3 receivers on the right side. One of them came across the middle. Harrison started across, set up, and he was wide open. That ball almost deflected.
Entman looked like he almost scraped a little finger along that football. He might have touched it. Hard to tell.
First and goal inside the 1-yard line. 15th play of a long drive, and Warren cannot get in.
Oh, he didn't get close. Solid play by Miami.
Tough to hesitate along that line of scrimmage. It's going to collapse so quickly.
Infante looking on as his team tries to wrap up what would be a 97-yard touchdown drive and would be the longest drive in the NFL this season.
2 tight ends in the ball game. The second tight end for the Colts is Marcus Pollard, who had the big play against Dallas last week, that 48-yard screen pass for a touchdown.
Hogdog good in a rollout down here. 3 tight end set. Second and goal. Fake to the fullback. Lofted to the end zone. Wide open is Dilger. Touchdown.
I'd say Miami overcommitted to the run.
Second down, Miami not thinking pass. Play action, not even a good play action. They bought it all the way.
I'm guessing Louis Oliver had Dilger. I think he had Dilger, and Dilger went past him. There's Oliver, 25. You can see he takes that one step and stops and goes, oh no, tries to jump, but a little late.
Dilger is 6'5", easy for him.
Carrie Blanchard, who had 2 kidney stones surgically removed this week. It hurts to just say it.
Yes.
Kicks the extra point. 8:51 to go in the first half, and Indy has the lead. Colts by 4. A 97-yard drive engineered by Jim Harbaugh that took more than half a quarter. Consummated with a touchdown, and the kickoff here off the foot of Gardocki is taken a yard into the end zone by Irving Spikes behind a phalanx of blockers, and he takes it up to the 34-yard line. So Kosar comes back in. Marino's still on the shelf with 8:40 to go in the half. Steve Entman looking like some Renaissance artiste right there. The #1 pick overall by Indianapolis in the '92 draft. Injury-riddled career here, and now winds up with the Dolphins.
A Renaissance artiste?
Well, sort of.
I thought WWF was more like that.
I'm thinking of the Cafe Days artiste. What can I tell you? From the 34-yard line, it's Kosar going back and hitting Spikes. Nice move by Irving. And still on his feet. He can break tackles with the best of them, and he picks up about 7. Tackled there by Belzer. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Brewery Fresh Budweiser, who reminds you fresh beer tastes better. Infinity, the new Q45, everything changes but the soul. And Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most. Second down 3 from the 41-yard line. 8 minutes to go in the half. Colts leading by 4. Spikes. And Indy that time lining up with the 7-man front. He had no chance. Elijah Alexander making the tackle.
Frank, as you learned, I'm sure, very early in your career, sometimes you just have to put your head down and go. Bouncing outside in the NFL doesn't work very often.
But he tries so many times, and he will make you miss a lot of tackles, but everyone's staying right in position on the part of this Colt defense. He had nowhere to go, and you're right. He could have saved a couple of yards by putting the head down and just pulling as much as he could.
Third down and 6 now. Kosar in relief of Marino. Play clock down to 1. And Bernie It's not a thing of beauty, but he sure knew how far he had to go to get the first down, and he gets there up to the 45-yard line.
Remember, though, with a quarterback, when he hook slides like that, when he first goes down, that's where they spot the ball. He could slide another 4 or 5 yards untouched, but you don't get credit for the slide. When you first sit on the turf, that's where they spot the ball. So watch where Bernie hits it first. See, that's it.
He got the first, but I think Jimmy Johnson with Dan Marino on the bench would just assume Bernie Kosar would forget that.
It's a very good mark. Even though he slid across all the way up to the 46 untouched, good spot at the 44.
First and 10. Irving Spike still in the game. We've seen Abdul-Jabbar to this point. Now Irving for a change of pace. He goes out into the pattern and makes the catch. And Irving Spikes gets tackled up at the 47 by Sammy Burrows after a pickup of 4. The Dolphins this season, we've been talking about how they've rushed, and take a look at that. Through the years, as you can see, either in yards per game or yards per rush, they've been terrible. Outside of 94 when they were okay, and coming in tonight all of a sudden, Jimmy Johnson, like every coach, saying, I want to establish a running game, but he's meant it.
Well, those yardage were made in the first 3 games against New England, Arizona, and the Jets.
But tonight, a different story. He can't get it going.
1.4 per will not get it done.
League average perennially 4.0 or thereabouts. Second down and 7, and 1.4 will go down even more.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, that's the Colts. One thing they do defensively, they stay in their zone, and they are good tacklers. We've seen some awful tackling this year in the National Football League, but not by the Indianapolis Colts.
It's Sammy Burrows making that tackle right there, the guy who's been replacing Coriat. Remember, Coriat and Alexander, or Stephen Grant actually, were shaken up earlier, the linebackers.
Just look at Burrows. He's very quick. He was a safety at Portland State. Picked up a little weight. They needed him in linebacker, and that's where they moved him. He's got a great attitude, and he is all over the football field. He was a free agent.
This is no fluke. The Colts come into this game giving up only 88 yards a game rushing.
3rd and 11. Kosar with a corner blitz, gets it away. Under pressure, there's a flag down back at the 34-yard line. Kosar also got hammered by Sammy Burrows, but that didn't draw a flag. There is a flag deep downfield.
Well, Burrows hit Kosar just as he released the ball. That was a perfectly good hit.
Referee is Dick Hantak.
12 men on the field for the defense, 5 yards, repeat the down, 3rd down.
Ooh. Well, one Jim Johnson was going to be upset, no matter who the penalty was called against, and it happens to be the defensive coordinator, not the head coach.
Yeah, maybe that's why their defense has been so tough.
That wasn't even a case of somebody coming off and going on and getting caught out on the field. They legitimately had 12 guys lined up playing that play.
Dan, that somebody wouldn't have picked it up. So maybe they did.
Well, the guy who was responsible for picking it up picked it up. 3rd down and 6 now at the 48. Indy leading 7-3. Kosar throws and finds the open man amongst a trio of secondary people. Was Charles Jordan, who makes his first catch of the night. Bernie got hit again as he threw, but he had a lot of time in the pocket and finds the open receiver.
Bernie not having been the principal quarterback, not getting the work, and that was perfect timing between he and Jordan, even though he knew he was going to get hit. They gave him a lot of time because that play took a lot of time to develop.
Bernie got whacked.
Oh, he did. He knew it. He was going to get it, too.
He comes down kind of awkwardly, kind of rolled up in a ball. He's a big, sturdy guy, though. Bernie can take upon him.
1st and 10 from the 37-yard line. Under 4 minutes left in the half, and Irving spikes, bounces into his own man, and then bounces off and turns no gain into a pickup of about 8 before he's thrust back by Buchanan.
This is what Jimmy Johnson loves about Irving Spikes. He is so hard to get down. He's got a very low center of gravity, bounces off tacklers. He'll turn a nothing play into a big gainer. And he's got, over a 5-yard average per carry thus far this season.
Well, that was good work by Richmond Webb, Keith Sims over there on the left side. They really pinned the Colts in there. Burrows got caught to the inside. Nice job of Spike sensing that soft spot off to his left. There's the great all-pro Richmond Webb, number 78.
2nd and 2 from the 29. And Bernie over the middle to the tight end, Brett Carolyn, who caught the first touchdown pass of his career last week from Dan Marino. First down at the 15.
Those are on a roll. Good quick read of Caroline. Talked about the Miami Dolphins not having, certainly not a Pro Bowl quality tight end. But Caroline, who had a couple of years with the 49ers, is doing the job for them along with Keith Byers. They're splitting the duties.
First and 10 at the 16-yard line. Irving spikes. Minimal gain. 2.5 to play in the half.
Other than where the ball ends up, is there anything that you would tell a young quarterback that he should do that Bernie Kosar does? Other than where the ball finds its way to a receiver, he might be the most technically unsound quarterback in the NFL.
Tell him early to take up tennis.
Well, one of the great competitors in this game, and if you joined us late, Dan Marino with a twisted right ankle will be evaluated at halftime.
2nd and 8, and they don't get the play off. There's no play. The 2-minute warning. The clock ticked down to 2:00 before the snap. 2-minute warning. 2nd and 8 when we come back in Indy, where the Colts lead the Dolphins 7-3. In the first half, Miami with the ball. They trail by 4. 2nd down and 8 at the Colts 14-yard line. Indy shows blitz. Here they come. Bernie reads it, and the pass is incomplete. He tried to hit Thomas, but Lamar Thomas covered by Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. What a play by Daniel, and what a great pickup of the blitz by the Dolphins.
I think it was Irving Spikes was the back who stepped up in there and gave Bernie the time to get rid of it.
Boy, this was classic stuff. There's the intended receiver. Lamar Thomas, contact right as the ball reached there. Had perfect timing. We talked about it earlier. It's very difficult on that little look in, the little slant in, to time it out perfectly.
3rd down and 8. The dome is rocking left of your screen. Full house, close to 60,000 looking on. 11th play of the drive here. Out of the gun. Here they come again on the blitz. And Kosar slings it into the arms of Scott Miller, who makes his first catch of the night at the 10. But it's 4th down. He's tackled there by Diedrich Mathis, and Nedney will come in to try to kick the field goal to make it 7-6.
Mathis up there tight on the intended receiver. He knew he had the help from the blitz. He knew that Kosar would have to deliver quickly, and he was right up there for the coverage.
The two things you need when you're going to blitz: tight coverage, good open field tackling. The first guy has to make the tackle.
And that's the worst sight of all if you're a Dolphin fan. Dan Marino in a cart with 1:40 to go in the half. Before the Miami field goal, the Colts trying to make maximum use of the clock, take a timeout. So $1:40 left. That's Indy's last timeout, and Joe Nedney now to attempt what will be about a 28-yard field goal, and then the Colts will get the ball back with about 100 seconds remaining, but no timeouts.
Nedney, of course, not confronted with the infield of the baseball diamond as he was last week when he had a lot of problems.
He's thankful for that. This is a 29-yard attempt for the man who has supplanted Pete Stoyanovich, who's now with the Chiefs. John Kidd to hold, and Nedney boots it through. So Jimmy Johnson applauds that as his team moves to within 1. It's now Indy 7 and Miami 6.
But it was jumping.
Joe Nedney to kick off. And Aaron Bailey back to receive it, standing at the goal line. Nedney with that big leg, and that's why he won the job, because of things like that. Kicking touchbacks and forcing the opposition to start at the 20-yard line. 1:37 to go in the half. Let's check in with Chris Berman in New York.
All right, Al, thank you. And coming up on our Lexus halftime report, we look forward to your chat with Dan Marino and our weekly tour around the league.
And the following week, Chris, it'll be Kansas City against Pittsburgh on a Monday night. So the Chiefs are hot, and right now the Colts trying to stay hot, trying to stay unbeaten from the 20-yard line as Harbaugh gets taken down at the 11. Daniel Stubbs makes the tackle. Again, the Colts do not have a timeout.
Stubbs has now had a sack in each of the first 4 games for the Dolphins.
And now on 2nd down and 8, it really changes the composition of what you were going to do. It's almost as if you want to run the clock out now on 2nd and 18.
See just right. That too.
Now it could have been in Miami's favor to stop the clock and try to get possession in good field position.
And Miami has 2 timeouts remaining.
They'll almost certainly use one if this is not a very good play by the Colts.
Second down and 18, and it is Lamont Warren who escapes the grasp of the defense in the backfield, takes it up to the 18-yard line, and now the Dolphins do take the timeout. It'll be third down and 11 coming up.
And now it's an interesting call now for Lindy Infante and the Colts. Do they put the ball in the air, running the risk of an incompletion to stop the clock? Which means they'll then have to turn over the football, and the Dolphins will get it with still 1 timeout remaining and relatively good field position.
Well, if you want a quarterback that's really going to be safe with it, it would be Jim Harbaugh. He does not throw a lot of interceptions. He'll eat the football, he'll throw it away. Well, Lindy Infante, the offensive coordinator last year, so it's been a pretty seamless transition for the offense. Anyway, Lindy was out of coaching for 3 years. He said he had a bad taste in his mouth after he was fired by Green Bay, went back to Florida. He was a frustrated architect and spent 2 years building his own house and taking his golf handicap from a 15 to an 8. Well, that gives you hope, Al. not much. Not architecture, but your golf game certainly could use the work.
Well, what Al did the same, Al did basically the same thing, going from a 34 to a 25.
That's right. All of a degree of certainly. Third down and 11 from the 19. 49 seconds. Harbaugh, that's the inside give to Warren, and he's tackled up at the 24. Now Miami will take another timeout, their final one, and conserve some time, and they'll get the ball back right now with 42 seconds remaining.
Colts would have been better off letting the clock run when Miami had it before they kicked the field goal. Looking at the way it's turned out now.
Next week, very important game in the NFC East. Philadelphia sharing first place with Washington at 3-1, taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who come in after that defeat yesterday at Buffalo. The Cowboys are reeling. They are 1-3. Aikman and Sanders and company. Emmitt Smith next week from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. The Cowboys and Eagles on Monday Night Football. Who would have thought the Cowboys in the fourth game would be playing really a desperation game?
How do you spell urgency?
With a capital U. O.J. McDuffie back to receive the kick. Chris Gardocki sends it skyward, and it will be fair caught by O.J. McDuffie at the 23, but there's a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Ooh, holding against Miami. Oh, that's an automatic first down.
So much for the timeouts.
Yes, sir.
Holding. Defense, number 25. Pull the player out of the way, allow a teammate to come up the gap. 5 yards, first down.
Mike Westhoff, the special teams coach, he can't believe it. It's against Louis Oliver, the veteran.
And, of course, that's something you work on. You spend all week working on your punt block and doing just that. The operative phrase here is don't get caught. Of course, you try to pull a guy out of the way. You just try to do it in such a manner that it's not conspicuous.
And rarely ever called.
In the middle of your screen, see Louis Oliver tie up 2 guys? Boy, that's not that kind of stuff happens all the time, and as Frank just mentioned, rarely flagged. Rarely flagged.
So now the Colts with the chance to move into field goal range. 34 seconds, no timeouts for Indy. They lead 7-6. And Harbaugh under pressure, and they dump him at the 25-yard line. Trace Armstrong was in there, and that's big news in Miami these days.
Yeah, not a lot happening from that defensive end position. Trace off to a slow start. And that's getting in on any action is a big plus.
The first sack by defensive end for the Dolphins. Yeah. Had a few hurries. Armstrong was pitching a no-hitter coming into the game. No tackles, no assists, no sacks. Stubbs, of course, has had one in each of the past 4 games. 2nd and 14, and Harbaugh throws. Stabline makes the catch, but he's going to stay in bounds, and that'll do it for the first half. So the half is over. Marino will check on him, of course. We'll also have an interview with Dan at the half, but he's been out of the game since midway through the first quarter. Harbaugh led him on a 97-yard drive for the game's only touchdown, and at the half, it's 7-6 Indianapolis. Back we come after this match.
Laughing that the way that the Dolphins were running the ball versus him passing the ball this season, that he would be able to throw to 50. As we rejoin Al Michaels in Indianapolis, Al, obviously, he still has the golden arm, but the ankle is the question right now.
That is the big question right now, and we'll have to wait and see because he's back being re-examined in the locker room. In the meantime, it is Bernie Kosar, and as you know, of course, Chris, Dan Marino spent 13 years with an icon, Don Shula. Last year, there was a tremendous amount of speculation that Shula would be out and Jimmy Johnson might be in. But I asked Dan last night, I said, what was your emotional reaction when it was official that Don Shula was not coming back to the Dolphins?
Well, I disappointed and kind of surprised at first, and disappointed because we had been through so much together, 13 years, and a lot of different things happened. His records, my records, ups and downs, winning seasons, losing seasons. So there was a lot of emotion there from that standpoint. And then, after that, when they hired Jimmy, you look into the future, and it's a fresh start.
When Jimmy Johnson gets the job, one of the things he conceivably could have done is taken you and wrapped you up in a nice package and gotten a couple of starters and a lot of draft choices and pull what he did in Dallas and make a tremendous trade that would benefit the team down the line. Were you at all fearful or anticipating that something like that could happen?
Well, I'm never fearful of that because I can play. Okay, I feel I can play. I'm confident. So if that was the case and someone didn't want me to be a Miami Dolphin, then I'd go play somewhere else. But from the first time that we met, he's all along said, the great thing is I think we have a lot of things in common. We want to win Super Bowls, and he said he wanted to win right away, and he felt that I can help him do that. And I was excited about bringing him, him being there because of the opportunities in the next few years for me.
If you had to crystallize the difference between Don Shula's style at the end of his career and what Jimmy Johnson has done with his team right now, what would be paramount?
Well, I think that it's hard to compare, but Coach Shula had his way of doing things, and he had a veteran team last year, and things just didn't work out the way we wanted to. Now, our practices are a lot different. They're a lot more physical than they were, for the last couple of years, and I think it's because we had a veteran team, and that's the way Coach Shula just approached it with those type of players. Now, there's a lot more intensity in practice and in preparations during the week because of the young people and the learning that they have to have and just getting ready to play the game.
Well, we were hoping to see Marino in the second half, but Atlanta Falcon fans will not see Jeff George. Firm.
Here is Miami will receive the kick. Chris Gardocki to kick off. And Gardocki's kick taken at the goal line. This is Jerish McPhail, the rookie, out past the 20. And a good way for Miami to start the second half as we get an update from Lynn Swan. Lynn?
Well, Al, Dan Marino sprained his right ankle. They said he will not come back in for the second half, and they will reevaluate it during the bye week. I asked Jimmy Johnson, does that change what he can do offensively in the second half? He said, no, with Bernie Kosar, we can run our same complete package. I asked Lindy Infante about that. Will he try and bring more pressure on Bernie Kosar? He says, no, they won't change anything because they don't have Coriat and Grant. Their two outside backers are injured, so they're very limited in what they can do defensively. They're just going to try and hold on and stay in this ball game. Al?
All right, Lynn, thank you. Both teams hurting. The Dolphins had only 17 yards rushing in the first half, and they begin now from the 36-yard line. Kosar with great protection, but the secondary does a wonderful job, and finally he has to eat it at the 31-yard line. Tony McCoy will get the sack, but that is a coverage sack if ever you've seen one.
The ultimate coverage sack. Oh, he had 5-6 seconds before he finally had to tuck it away and take the sack. Terrific coverage. Now looking up at the screen here in the dome, seeing what happened.
Lynn talked about the fact that Coriat and Grant are out of this ball game. That's taken two
role players in Sammy Burroughs and Elijah Alexander and put them both at the very key spots at outside linebacker. Miami has to attempt to take advantage of that.
They lost a lot of bulk out there, too, with those two.
2nd and 15, and Abdul-Jabbar picks up about 5. Jason Belzer says, here's my welcome for you
and
to the NFL.
Some welcome it was, too, Al. That's the way you want a safety to come up in run support. That's exactly the way you want to come up.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar changed his name at UCLA. The early part of his career, he was Sharman Shaw. Then he changed his name. Went in to tell Terry Donahue, the coach, that he was changing his name, and Donahue almost had a heart attack. 3rd down and 10 from the 36-yard line. And this is Abdul-Jabbar up to the 48-yard line, tackled there by Sammy Burroughs.
And a lot of presence on the part of Bernie Kosar. They had the blitz on. He did not have enough men to pick it up, but he quickly realized he had to get rid of it quickly, and he got it to Abdul-Jabbar.
And I think that's right in that area where the Dolphins should work to take advantage of those missing starting linebackers, just that 5-6 yard area downfield in the soft spot of the coverage. That's Burroughs, 53, that had to come all the way across and late make the hit.
First down up at the 48-yard line. And this is O.J. McDuffie breaking tackles and then paying the price as he moves to the 39 and stopped there by Burroughs.
McDuffie's such a good runner after he gets his hands on the football. That's why they like to go with that little slant. We've seen them go to McDuffie several times tonight. They just want to get the ball in his hands and let him do his thing. He is again tough guy, too.
Burroughs up towards the line of scrimmage, kind of caught there in no man's land. He's got to come back, staggers back, gets in and makes a hit way downfield. But again, a rookie from Portland State, a free agent, has to be limited in what he can do for you, having to play every down.
From the 39, that's incomplete. Contact there, but not influencing the play. Lamar Thomas and Eugene Daniels.
Those are way off with that pass. Brain Trust, Gary Stevens, the offensive coordinator there.
And assistant Kippy Brown
talking to Bernie and calling the play. In on all of it, Jimmy Johnson.
On 2nd and 10. Lamar Thomas forced out by Eugene Daniel, a little bit short of the first down. It's apparently, let's see where they're going to spot it. Give a pretty good little spot there, but it still appears to be short.
Good shot by Kosar. Whip-like delivery of his. He can put something on it.
That's so close, they're going to have to measure.
Yep. Watch this. Thomas with a good break against Eugene Daniel, and Kosar with a real rifle shot. And he got a pretty good mark.
That's a splendid mark. That mark appears to be about a good 2 feet better than what he deserved. At least a foot better.
Interesting how they measured it in midfield instead of over the sideline.
Not that close. There's Fred Barnett. We had a shot of him before, the ex-Eagle. And remember, with only O.J. McDuffie as a veteran wideout and a guy to be relied on, the Dolphins eagerly anticipating Barnett's re-entrance. And that will probably come in late October. Quarterback comparison, pretty similar. Third and inches from the 29. Abdul-Jabbar swinging to the outside and makes his way for a first. A flag comes in at the end. Keith Byers now playing tight end exclusively through the block. And let's see about the flag. Against Miami. Back it comes.
Oh, that hurts. Abdul-Jabbar with a great effort to get that first down.
Holding. Offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
That's Richmond Webb. the multi-time All-Pro left tackle, and he's certainly not happy about that call. There's a guy that normally plays this game pretty tight. There he is, number 78. Let's watch him. Oh, yeah, you can see he had the right arm. He had lost the outside position. Got that right arm. Yep, got that right arm up there and ended up bringing him to the ground.
Third down, 11 now. Indy leading by a point early in the third quarter. Kosar throws well short of the first. McDuffie makes the catch. Buchanan with the tackle at the 36-yard line, so they're pretty close to being out of field goal range here. It's a 53-yard attempt, but here comes Nedney, at least for the moment.
Well, we've seen how far he can hit it on kickoffs. We know he's got a big foot.
To this point in time, guys, this has been a very impressive performance by the secondary of the Colts.
This will be a 53-yard attempt. John Kidd, the punter, to hold it.
And the Colts should be aware of skullduggery from the Dolphins.
But Nedney's going to bang it, and it's going to be short.
By rule, the ball is returned to the spot of the attempt.
And again, the ball comes back to the spot of the attempt, giving Indianapolis fairly decent position to commence its drive with 10:22 left in the third. Still 7-6 Colts. Joe Nedney shaking his head, coming up short and a little wide on the last field goal attempt. And now Indianapolis takes over at the 44. Kosar on the offense waits. They're down by a point. And Harbaugh leads the Colts up to the 44, first down and 10. They give it to Zach Crockett. And he takes it to the 50, fumbles, and right into the arms of Steve Entman. Boy, what a night for this guy, who's been pretty quiet about it, but he came back, was injury-racked in his career with Indianapolis, but was really looking forward to tonight and making an impact, and he just did. Miami's football. First turnover of the night. Look at the guy who just fumbled. Zach Crockett giving up the football, and Miami takes over now at midfield. Steve Entman came up with a recovery, and the Dolphins now first and 10 from midfield. 10-12 left third quarter. Indianapolis leading by a point. Kosar. Miami's had 9 different guys catch passes tonight. They won't have a 10th here as Tony McCoy gets the sack.
Oh, boy, and Bernie took quite a shot on the ribs. Tony McCoy taking him right to the carpet.
But what a veteran play by Bernie Kosar, because he could have dumped that football, but his only choice at this time was to throw it in the middle of the field with his body posture, and he alertly holds onto the ball. A sack much, much better than running the risk of turning it over in the middle of the field. A younger quarterback might have let that thing go just to try to avoid that sack.
That's McCoy's second sack as you look at Erickson, the number 3 quarterback. It's only the second 2-sack game of McCoy's career. The other came against Miami in '94 as Pritchett, the fullback, makes the catch and takes it to the 49-yard line. ABC's Monday Night Football is being brought to you by Gossamer Bay Vineyards, an emerging new style of wine. Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And Sun America, the retirement savings specialist. Where is that Gossamer Bay anyway?
I don't know, but might require some research.
Yes. Third down and 9 at the 49-yard line.
Report back next week.
You bet.
Look out.
Kosar escapes the sack, the initial one anyway, and then dumps it to Abdul-Jabbar with some great running, takes it to the 39. He made a lot of runs like that at UCLA and pulls one off here, and it's a big one for a first down.
Oh, give the assist, though, to Bernie Kosar, who somehow or other got away from a sure sack and was able to get the ball to Abdul-Jabbar. A lot of presence on the part of Bernie Kosar.
Well, this one figured to be close. I thought we'd have a little bit more scoring than we've seen so far tonight, but a real tight game as one team tries to remain undefeated.
And what looked like after that first sack, and Bernie gave up the sack, but wisely held onto the football, you see how that paid off. You see how that paid off, not risking an interception. They end up converting the first down anyway. And I thought Jimmy gambled a little bit with a long field goal. It's paid off for Miami with the turnover.
And they just do get the play off, and Abdul-Jabbar picks up a yard.
I'm not sure they did get it off.
There was a flag down now in the secondary, and that would indicate delay of the game.
Well, you really have to give a lot of credit to the Colts. They're playing with so many people out of their lineup, particularly a linebacker. They're playing with inexperienced specialty players, and they're doing a fine job. Indiana County's offense is not pretty, but it does move the football.
Well, they were really penalized there because after the miss by Nedney, they really started in wonderful field position, and to turn it over so quickly on the fumble by Crockett, really that was an opportunity. You don't get that many of those. Lost.
And now Miami trying to cash in as they have a first down at the 44-yard line. 1st and 15 after the delay of game. Kosar, well, I guess that's the quintessential Kosar pass. Wobbly, fluttering, and coming up limping is Sammy Burroughs on the coverage.
They can ill afford to lose another linebacker. Sammy Burroughs, however, looks like he's going to be all right.
And he's replacing Quentin Coryatt. So the Colts, as you all know from last week and this week as well, totally banged up. Ellis Johnson, the defensive end, has had a couple of concussions and has not been cleared to play yet this season.
Colts still go into a bye week, so they will be able to get some of their walking wounded back on the field probably when they meet Buffalo.
We must have to take a number just to get into the Colts training room.
2nd down and 15. And intended for Jarris McPhail, and that's incomplete. In fact, as Lindy finally told us last night, 28 Colts spent time in the training room.
That's the equivalent of going in and trying to get your driver's license renewed. Take a number, we'll be back to you. There's the other starting defensive end, Tony Bennett. He sprained his left knee in their second game of the year against the Jets. Again, one of those guys that they hope to have back after the bye week.
Lindy Infante checking his chart here, thinking ahead to when they get the ball back. Lindy totally concerned with the offense and lets Jim Johnson run the defense. 3rd and long, Bernie under pressure, and down he goes at the 47-yard line.
Well, Jim Johnson
by Indianapolis.
Jim Johnson is playing this very smart, the defensive coordinator of the Colts. You have to make Bernie Kosar move. You cannot allow Bernie to stand and get a stationary look at the field. He's too smart and is too gifted in delivering the football. Bernie on the move, though, is relatively ineffective.
That time they came with Ray Buchanan off the corner. Bernie had to slide to his left, got in trouble there. Down he went.
John Kidd to punt. He dropped one inside the 5-yard line earlier, and Marvin Harrison back to receive it. Harrison calls for the fair catch and makes it at the 10. That's where the Colts will start their next drive. 7:05 left in the 3rd in the Dome in Indy, where the Colts lead 7.
Interesting exchange here. That's Gary Stevens, offensive coordinator, talking to Bernie Kosar, and you could read lips. It'd be kind of interesting as to that exchange. They have been forcing him out of the pocket, though, Dan. You're exactly right.
Absolutely.
That's what you want to do with Bernie Kosar. Make him move around.
Bernie might be saying, Gary, if you think it's so easy, you come down and give it away.
First down, Indianapolis from its own 10. 7-6 Colts midway through the 3rd quarter. Harbaugh and out to Dawkins. Taken down immediately by Calvin Jackson. Again, if you joined us late, Dan Marino, an ankle sprain, had it taped and retaped and then couldn't come back. Dan has been out since midway through the 1st quarter, will not come back. They have a bye week next week, and it can only hope he'll be back in 13 days.
Sean Dawkins working against Calvin Jackson, who replaced J.B. Brown over in that right corner for the Dolphins.
Jackson still going for the high tackle up there on the neck. He missed one of those early in the ball game. He's still working up high against Dawkins.
2nd and a deuce. Lamont Warren swings to the outside and picks up the first down with a nifty bit of leg work up to the 27-yard line behind a Zach Crockett block.
Colts having to go with their playoff backfield from a year ago, and when Marshall Faulk went down, Roosevelt Potts went down, it was Zach Crockett and Lamont Warren who took them to within one tipped pass of going to the Super Bowl. That, of course, against the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Marshall Faulk, the great running back, sprained toe, severe enough that he missed the Dallas game, misses tonight. They hope to have him back after the bye week. Colts off next Sunday. Harbaugh, deep drop, set up the screen to Crockett with good blocking out front. Crockett takes it up to the 33-yard line. Dwight Hollier knifes through to make the tackle. Well, that AFC Championship game, and the Colts came this close to going to the Super Bowl. If Aaron Bailey can just hold on in the end zone.
Looks so easy in slow motion, doesn't it? The ball right there. And the official right there.
And for the second year in a row, Bill Cowher had a Super Bowl trip dependent on the last play. San Diego knocked them out the year before, but this time he goes as the Steelers win the game. 2nd and 4. Wraparound draw to Crockett, who comes close to picking up the first down. Dwight Hollier making the tackle and stopping them what appears to be inches short.
Crockett really came on, though, during those playoffs. He had about 150 yards against San Diego in the first playoff game, and filling in for the injured Roosevelt Potts.
And that was after he had 0 yards rushing for the regular season. He had 1 carry last year, no yards, and then went wild with Falk on the bench or hurt in San Diego. Going to measure here with 5 minutes to play, and tonight the Dolphin running game has been totally shut down, and the Colts are averaging a very stellar 4.6.
But still not a lot of yardage here with only 60. Here with only 5 minutes left in the third quarter. Neither one of them exactly pounding away at each other. But the average for the Dolphins is killing them to this point in time.
Dolphins with the #1 rushing defense in the league coming into the game, allowing just 43 yards a game. And this is the same team, of course, that got killed in that playoff game in Buffalo last year and Shula's last game.
And when the rushing yardage you give up starts with a 3.
Yes.
Yeah, 341 yards.
Yep. Rushing.
Your odds of success are very slim.
They had to go back to the old Bear-Washington Redskin game championship as many moons ago to come up with something to beat that.
Right, when the Bears beat them 73-0.
There's a biggie here.
3rd and a short one from the 36-yard line, and they give it to Workman. And Vince Workman, the 8th-year back out of Ohio State, journeyman back, picks up the first down.
What he's saying, if I had not have been diving for that first down, I might have got a touch out of it.
We used to call that
a lot of yardage.
We used to call that the trap door. Somebody opened up that trap door and tripped him when he went through there. I don't think he was touched, was he?
No, he was making sure he had enough weight into it, and he was too far forward on it, and he could have picked up a lot of yardage. But he got the first. The primary importance. He's looking to get hit. He didn't get hit.
He got tackled by Mr. Air right there.
First down at the 41. 4:10 left, third quarter. Indy leads by 1. Harbaugh scrambles, throws, finds Workman. And Workman getting a lot of work in the last 2 plays up to the 49-yard line. It's an 8-yard pickup. Tackled by Larry Izzo.
Workman's legs are failing him, Frank.
Yeah. They said in the first quarter, though, Harbaugh is so dangerous when he gets out of the pocket. That's when he turns into a superb athlete with a great sense of where he is.
You know, Workman falls down here without being tackled. I think he might have to look at what kind of tires he's got on those wheels. I'd tie those babies up real tight, Vince.
Hey, well, they work on the helmet of Zach Thomas, so the middle linebacker is out of the lineup for the moment, and that's why Izzo is in the game. Another rookie replacing rookie. And this is Lamont Warren for a first down before Gene Atkins tackles him at the 43-yard line.
Boy, and Izzo got nailed as he stepped in to try to make the tackle from the middle linebacker position.
Oh, great blocking on the left side of the Colts line. Boy, that's solid work. Weidel at left guard, Ozine at left tackle. Boy, they just dominated the line of scrimmage on that play.
Ozine playing Well, they were wondering if he could go tonight. 2 sore knees, and they were concerned about how they would have to juggle their offensive line if he couldn't go. Of course, Bill Tobin, who was the director of football here at Indianapolis, drafted him when Bill was with the Chicago Bears.
Zach Thomas back in the game. First down at the Dolphin 43-yard line. Draw. Crockett. That's Cliff Gross, excuse me. Gross is 5'11", 245. And you look at a guy who's built like that, and you think of an old Colt named Don Nottingham, the original human bowling ball.
He's much taller than Nottingham. Gross is listed at 5'11". Don Nottingham was more in that 5'9" range.
I see Urban Spikes, and I think of him, too.
Do you?
Don Nottingham, oh, he was fun to watch.
Yeah, well, here comes Dan Marino in civvies. And Lynn Swan's going to get an update for us in a moment.
Don Nottingham always struck me as one of those guys that if he was 2 inches shorter, he'd have been perfectly round.
It's an end around to the rookie Harrison with Harbaugh looking to block. Good move by Harrison. He picks up the first down, and that's why he was the #1 draft choice.
Hello. Well, Harrison, an excellent punt returner at Syracuse, as well as a great receiver. You saw some stylish moves right there.
Well, the unfortunate guy who's faced up with Harrison out there actually is Daniel Stubbs. The Dolphins run one of their deals where they drop a defensive lineman back into coverage. Stubbs is going to be number 96. That's him coming across right there. And he cannot stop as quickly as Harrison can. And he sails right on by. Asking an awful lot of a defensive end to go one-on-one out in the open field with a wide receiver.
Gain of 15, a minute and a half to play in the third. Another draw. Crockett, huge hole. Crockett is to the 1-yard line.
Whoa, did he explode. Head coach Lindy Infante with some imaginative play calling.
And there is Bill Tobin, the architect.
Again, if we have seen one thing, and there's Jim Irsay, son of the owner of the franchise, Robert Irsay, but Jim, for all intents and purposes, runs this club. But what we're seeing here, guys, is the Colts offensive line has taken control of the game on this drive. Huge holes time after time. They're opening up for the Colt running game,
much as they did against Dallas.
Rolling on 1st and goal from the 1. Harbaugh loses a yard and a half. 2nd and goal. Armstrong and Entman in on the tackle. Remember, the Colts touchdown drive earlier was 97 yards. This one began at their own 10. So 2 very long drives for Indy tonight.
Jim forgot the rules.
She said, Dan, so true. In the Dallas game of a week ago yesterday, the Colts really took command of that game in the 3rd quarter. The offensive line in great shape, just blew them out.
You're right, Frank. There's a case where Harbaugh forgot the rules. When he's all the way out on the corner like that, he can just throw the ball away.
Harbaugh looking over at the bench. Harbaugh has to run a play. They really screwed that up. They had to run a play before the quarter was over, and originally they thought that they could run the clock out, but they couldn't. And they have to waste a timeout. Back to exasperated Infante. Prudential Monday Night Football fact, Dan Marino with 119 wins as a starter in his career, tied with John Unitas, 2nd most by any starting QB in NFL history, behind only Fran Tarkenton. The irony is he would win number 120 tonight if Kosar can lead them from behind, because Dan was the starting quarterback, but he's out. And right now they have other problems, do the Dolphins, because defensively they have to stop Indy. 2nd down, goal from the 3. 9 seconds to play in the period. And Harbaugh flips one out to Dilger, and he gets tackled as Hollier saves a touchdown. And that will end the 3rd quarter. But the 4th quarter will begin with a 3rd and goal for Indy. End of 3 in the Dome. Still Colts 7, Dolphins 6. Monday night.
Here's Dwight Hollier right here. Watch him float out, and when he's out there, there's not another Miami Dolphin defender anywhere on that side of the field. If he doesn't make that tackle on Dilger, he walks right into the end zone. Now, if they're successful in keeping the Colts out of the end zone, that's a monster play by Dwight Hollier.
Yep. And it was Calvin Jackson who made that tackle on Crockett to stop him just short of the goal line. So 2 big plays, and that's a sight that can sicken any Dolphin fan. 3rd and goal, 13th play of the drive. Harbaugh throws, and it's low, and it is caught but outside the end zone by Marvin Harrison. So no gain, 4th down and goal.
How did he get that ball off the field? How did...
I'll just keep track of this number. If you haven't seen him before, 88. Marvin Harrison, he should have a great career in this game. He is everything it takes to be an extraordinary receiver.
I mean, that's a split.
Brilliant hands.
Well, that ball looked like it did touch the field, but that came down like a split finger fastball.
And the Colts are going to attempt the field goal here. Harbaugh trying to talk Infante into going for it. It's a chip shot from 18 yards.
Good
about as short as they get.
It takes him out of field goal range.
Well, they settled for 3 points because of a couple outstanding defensive plays by some Miami Dolphins.
We're back in Indianapolis. Al Michaels with Frank Gifford, Dan Deerdorf, and Lynn Swan. 10-6. Indy on top. A look at downtown Indianapolis. Dome lower left on a sparkling night. Lively crowd. Chris Gardocki to boot it. And he sends it down into the arms of the rookie Jarris McPhail from the 3-yard line. And McPhail with a good run back. Chugging and plugging and taking it up to the 38. Tackled there by Freddie Joe Nunn. 1 minute into the 4th quarter. Indianapolis 10, Miami 6. As Bernie Kosar takes over at the 37-yard line, 1st and 10. A minute into the 4th period. Irving spikes, goes nowhere, except into the arms of Jeff Herrod and company.
And right now, Miami's inability to run the football is hurting them more and more every play. Indianapolis has really stuffed them at the line of scrimmage tonight.
When they're doing it with so many people on the bench with injuries too, Dan.
Take a look at this drop-off. 23 yards on the ground this evening. Less than a 2-yard per carry average for the Dolphins.
Second and 9. Kosar into the arms of Keith Byers, who had his 130-game consecutive pass-catching streak stopped last week. He was very upset about it after the game, but he starts a new one right here, 3rd down.
When it was a pass like that he dropped last week, they would have continued that streak. Been around a long time, great years with Philadelphia, where he was also used in the backfield, and now totally committed by Jimmy Johnson to the tight end.
And will Jim Johnson, the defensive coordinator, will he come after Bernie?
3rd down and 4. The Dolphins have had 10 different men catch passes tonight. They run a stunt, they run a blitz, and they sack him.
You got to do it. You got to do it. It's not brain surgery.
Well, Dan Marino would have probably gone down just as quickly there. He had no protection at all. And this is a Colt team playing without their 2 defensive ends, the 2 outside linebackers, and kind of overwhelming the Miami offense.
Steve Morrison gets into the play here too, 52.
But he's their last remaining linebacker. But this is right now a case that Miami is paying a stiff price for not being able to run the football.
Kids kick. Good kick. 54 yards to the 9. This is the rookie Harrison, and he goes down at the 14-yard line. So the Colts pin deep. That hasn't happened yet tonight. Earlier, a 97-yard. Indianapolis, a shot at downtown. It is the Goodyear blimp. The what am I talking about? It's the Bud 1 airship.
See one, see them all.
Yeah, but it's the great Bud 1 airship. Oh, great time to get brain lock. It is the Bud 1 airship.
Welcome back to Minneapolis.
Okay. 1st and 10 from the 14-yard line as the Colts start the drive. 12:04 left in regulation. Harbaugh to Crockett. And he takes it up to the 21-yard line. And let's check in with Lynn Swan.
Now, while they intend to reevaluate Dan Marino when they get back to Miami, they did take the time in the 3rd quarter to get an x-ray of his right ankle, and they came back with nothing broken in that ankle, so it still remains a sprain. But Dan, being a competitor, just couldn't stay in the locker room. He had to come out, stand on the sideline, keep his head in the ball game. As a matter of fact, when he injured the ankle, they brought the cart to take him off in the first half. He says, no, not until my offense is off the field. Al?
All right, thank you, Lynn. The Dolphins are off next week, and then the next play against Seattle a week from Sunday. So he has that much time, does Dan, to recover. 2nd and 4. Rocket! First down up to the 35-yard line. Big hole. Lewis Oliver and Gene Atkins converge on the stop.
The Colts on their last drive totally dominated Miami, even though Miami stopped them from getting it into the end zone. They were dominated in the middle of the field, and the Colts have taken charge again, Dan.
Yes, they certainly have. And again, it's Ozine, Wydell, Loudermilk, Malum, Matthews. These guys are getting it done up here now. Look at that. That's use the term gaping hole. You can big, wide, large. Take your pick.
From the 35-yard line, Crockett yawning. Huge. George Hill, the defensive coordinator, frustrated right now. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Jeep, makers of the new award-winning Jeep Grand Cherokee. Loose End Technologies, we make things that make communications work. First Brands Corporation, makers of STP Complete Fuel System Cleaner. And Miller Lite. When you've got the great taste of an ice cold Miller Lite, life is good. Second down and 3, back inside the dome, outside the Bud 1 airship floating high above. 2nd and 3 from the 41-yard line.
This business, that's called a make good.
Yes, it is. And it's a fumble. Cliff Gross fumbles. And the Dolphins think they have it. Oh, somebody's got it. And if Hancock's saying that, he means the quarterback. But all the body language would tell you it's Miami.
Well, it's going to be whoever Dick Hancock sees with the football first.
Yeah, he said he's got it, he's got it. That was Dick's voice.
It most certainly has changed possession several times in this time span. There is a fierce struggle going on for that football.
And an agonizing moment for the coaches.
This is when it really gets difficult. It's a struggle now, and it's worth fighting over.
Well, the Harbaugh comes out of the pile with a football and holds it up to the heavens.
Boy, his size 48 jersey is now a 60. He was mauled. Harbaugh is shaken up.
Dick waiting for the crowd to quiet down a little, I think.
Well, this time is benefiting Jim Harbaugh.
We have a simultaneous recovery of the fumble. Both the defense and the offense had possession. In this situation, the ball belongs to the offensive team. Third down.
Harbaugh and Singleton, and Infante calls a timeout.
Well, that is why the referee has a field mic, and that was well used by...
Oh, and it was simultaneous, too.
Tie goes to the offense.
Boy, it ended up simultaneous, but it looked to me like it started more with Miami. Singleton from the left, Harbaugh from the right, but watch their helmets. Singleton's helmet hits Harbaugh right there in the ear hole. And Jim Harbaugh, while he does a tremendous job of fighting for the football, is shaken up, comes out, has to drop to a knee, and he has been replaced. Paul Justin, the backup quarterback, is now in the game for the Colts. So Jim Harbaugh, too hurt to continue, but somehow able to maintain a struggle and come out of there with simultaneous possession. That's pretty tenacious work by a quarterback.
So here's Justin, who made his NFL debut with the Bears a few years back, but has thrown only 44 career passes until this one, and it's incomplete. Sean Dawkins couldn't hold on.
Justin threw that perfectly.
Now they're down fighting for a ball now that the players think is live.
Justin hitting Dawkins right on the numbers.
And that was a third down play, so Indy will now be forced to punt.
Take a look at this, Justin, without any warm-up whatsoever. Here comes Dawkins, top of the screen on the slant. Perfect.
But he did not have control. Even though he took the necessary steps, he didn't have control. The ball was sliding down his hip the entire time.
Should have had control.
Yes, he should have.
O.J. McDuffie back to receive the kick. Chris Gardocki.
Where'd that Justin go to college?
I think he went to a school in Tempe, Arizona that faced Nebraska the other night, I think.
I'll be your setup man anytime.
Fair catch called for, and a 48-yard punt as McDuffie takes it at the 13-yard line. Harbaugh trying to get well in a hurry.
Well, when we saw Singleton and Harbaugh collide helmets like this, I knew that I had seen that image somewhere before. This is what it was. It's a little different when there are heads inside those helmets.
It must have felt that way to Harbaugh, though.
I think he's still feeling.
First down, Miami from the 14-yard line, and Abdul-Jabbar takes it up to the 17. 9:25 left, fourth quarter. Indianapolis on top 10-6. Winner remains unbeaten and is alone in first place in the AFC East as they work on Harbaugh. And the winner will join Minnesota, Kansas City, and Carolina as the only unbeatens.
Harbaugh looks like he's shaken off the effects of his battle for the football and the nod on the head that was delivered by Chris Singleton.
Second down, 7. Kosar and miscommunication there. Bailey Pritchard, the intended receiver. Third down.
It was so tough for a quarterback who has not done the principal work during the course of the week, working with the offense you put in to go against a particular team, and now we have an injured Colt down. Another one. It's just hard to believe. This is Tony McCoy, another defensive for the Colts down.
Tony's had a good ball game so far. Remember that sack in the first half on Bernie Kosar where he almost planted him here in the turf? Yeah, Jim, that's the smile of a guy who appears to have worked.
Warren got a couple of tough yards out of that. Smart running, didn't take it outside where it slipped it out. And we not got those. Still leave Harbaugh in the pass. In fact, he is a pretty sure one, but he running the football.